County severe weather. Decided we're going to go a little live here considering we have some severe storms to our west, approaching Uvalde and Sabinal with a severe thunderstorm warning issued for that area with an estimated 2.75 inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. What I'm concerned about now is this cell that's starting to pick up over here between Sabinal and Hondo. Notice if we put this into motion, it's starting to bring up. You're starting to see a little development right ahead of this complex that's moving east at about 30 to 40 miles an hour. At this point, it's not severe, but it's just something that we're going to continue to watch as these complex of storms continue to push to our east. At this point, this particular set of storms were dumping at least 3 inch hail to the west of here by Del Rio and Brackettville. As a matter of fact, if I bring up the storm reports, you can see quite a bit of hail reports being reported in this general area here. 2 inch hail, 1.5 almost, 2 inch hail over here by Del Rio. So this is a hail producing storm or a complex of hail producing storms moving to the east. At this point, not seeing much of a tornado threat. In fact, if I bring up the storm relative helicity, this particular area may be subject to a potential tornado. As you can see, a tornado is possible with this severe thunderstorm warning, and it's showing it right here. Potential rotation, maybe a hook right in the brightest area. But as you move further to the east towards San Antonio, you can see that value tends to drop. So I'm not looking too much right now at a tornado threat for should the storm and complex continue to move to the east. That storm relative helicity is highest right in this general area where potential hook. And let me go ahead and bring up the velocity to just see what that looks like. I mean, it could be something there. Like I said, the warning does include the potential for the tornado in that storm, but at this point, it's not verified. There's no tornado warning at this point. I'll go ahead and take off the storm relative helicity. What I did want to bring up while I'm here is let's look at what we call the CAPE. This is the fuel that the storms are feeding from. And if I go ahead and probe this, you can see that we're at 33 joules per kilogram, almost 4,040, almost 5,000 down here in San Antonio. These are very, very, very high numbers for the storm to feed from. So the CAPE is definitely there. Actually, MU CAPE is definitely there. That stands for most unstable convective available potential energy. So again, this is some very good fuel that these storms are feeding off from, which is to say, at least on that part, this in terms of fuel, the storm will not have any issues with that in terms of continue to develop. The other concern is also the very high dew points, which is our other potential. We need moisture in the air to have these storms fire up, and we definitely have the moisture with 72 and 71 dew points to the east of the storm. So we have that. So all we need now is essentially lift and shear, and the lift is being provided by the trough and low pressure that's moving from the west to the east. So there's our lift, and then we definitely have some shear, given that these storms have been producing some hail as well. So as we continue, let's go ahead and put this into motion, take off the probe there. Let's just kind of push this into motion, and we can kind of see where the storms are headed. I have noted a little bit of weakening, though, as the storms continue to push eastward. So that's kind of good news that hopefully, should that trend continue, we're not going to continue to see those 3-inch, 4-inch hail reports. Radar had indicated 4-inch hail reports at one point by Brackettville. So at this point, we're not looking at any potential hail at that point being that large. However, we're just going to have to continue to monitor as these storms continue to race eastward. And as you can see, we are seeing some development right between Sabinal and Hondo. Again, want to make sure at this point, non-severe, but this is just going to show that these storms are developing ahead of this storm, most likely a gust front or some kind of outflow that's allowing these storms to also develop. To our west, we still see additional storms over here by Del Rio and Acuna and up here as well. These are generally tracking towards the northeast. Noticed how these general storms are moving to the northeast and these are generally moving to the east. This is a good indication that these are supercells. When supercells develop, they tend to take their own direction in terms of flow. They become their own little mesocyclone and they start to kind of push to the right. So as these storms continue to push to the northeast, this one's continue to the east, that is an indication that these cells here are definitely supercells and are basically, they're rogue cells. They're just saying, I don't care about the actual wind flow. I'm going to go in the direction I want to go, and they are generally going to go to the east. So this is definitely a good indication that these storms are supercells. These are just strong storms potentially. Wouldn't doubt if they become severe as they move forward towards the Rock Springs area and so forth. As we pull out a little bit, we can see some additional storms up here by San Angelo. Again, we're seeing our development right here by Del Rio and Acuna. Additional storms pushing over here by the Mexican mountains. But obviously, the main concern we have right here as these storms approach Uvalde and Sabinal, and moving east. Let's go ahead and get a quick tick as to how quickly they're moving. Generally about 30 to 40 miles an hour, it looks like. And let's do another real quick shot about how far away are these storms. So if I were to put the edge of this one right here to the Bexar County line, this particular cell, although it's moving to the northeast, is approximately 22 miles away. Let's look at this cell, let's say the strongest part of the cell right here. And if we were to draw that line to the Bexar County line, it's about 52 miles away. 52 miles away. So they're still a good distance away. However, they are moving at around 30 to 40 miles an hour towards the east. Sorry, yeah, towards the east. Sorry, just lost my weather here for a second. There we go. And next thing we're going to look at, let's look at what are we looking at in terms of, bear with me for 1 second. Looks like we lost something here. There we go. Looks like I may have lost my menu. Bear with us 1 second, guys. All right, we're back. Sorry, guys, we had a little computer hiccup, technically live here. So again, we're back on, and we can see these storms continue to push to the east. What I was going to show, I think, was the, let's see, the direction. So Sabinal, this particular cell that's right here, looks to be heading in your general direction around 722, give or take. So if you're in the Sabinal area, watch out for this particular cell as it continues to move eastward at about 40 miles an hour. At this point, nothing going on for the San Antonio area. At this point, we still remain in the slight eastern areas. Elmendorf and St. Hedwig is in the marginal risk. Right now, we're not really caring about what kind of risks we are in terms of if it's green or yellow or even orange. The fact that we're even under a risk in general just means to be prepared for anything that's out there that may develop as these storms continue. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and while I'm looking at the radar, I'm going to put it in motion. Let's bring up some of the comments that are being brought in. So that storm by Hondo is a form tag 10 minutes ago. That just basically shows just how volatile the atmosphere is going right now and how these storms are just going to fire up. So it's not just this discrete storm right here and that's all we're watching. We got to watch ahead of the storms as well. And as we saw earlier, the Cape values are there to support the fuel for these storms to continue to grow. Our hope, obviously, is that we don't get the 3-inch, 4-inch hail. We do not need the 3-inch or 4-inch hail as that comes up. Yes, there looks to be some potential rotation by Uvalde. That's why this particular severe storm does say Thunderstorm warning does say tornado possible, so the National Weather Service is obviously monitoring that. Yes, it is an Alienware computer. Thanks very much. I actually use this for video production in general, but you guys deserve the best when it comes to any kind of weather coverage. So we have this question from Tammy saying, are we really going to get bad weather in San Antonio tonight? Again, we're going to continue watching. We are in the severe risk for slight and marginal risk for severe weather, which could be anything from very large hail, damaging winds. The thing to watch for is just to continue to watch the overall evolution of these storms as we continue to see them push to the east. As a matter of fact, the storms pushing out of Mexico are again now is just south of Del Rio, showing that it's all become severe warned. As soon as these cross the river, it looks like they're just going to become severe warm. Luckily, this one's tracking a little bit to the northeast of Bracketville, so hopefully the areas that earlier got some severe weather and some hail, hopefully those areas will not get that particularly hit again, even though this particular severe thunderstorm warning is showing 1.5 5.5 inches of hail possible with 60-mile-an-hour winds. This particular severe thunderstorm, again, warning showing 2 3/4 inch hail with 70-mile-an-hour winds. Let's look at velocity just real quick. And actually, I don't want to look at velocity. Let's look at, let's look at downdraft potential. So some of the winds, and this basically what I'm showing here is a radar product showing downdraft potential of these storms. So we're looking at 40, 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds generally that are the downdrafts for these storms. Does that mean that that's exactly what's reaching the ground? Not too exact to say that you're going to get 60-mile-an-hour winds, but the possibility is there given that we do have a severe warning for 70-mile. But that doesn't mean every single point you see here is seeing that, although the center of the storm right here is seeing a potential 70-mile-an-hour wind gust as a downdraft. Let's look at the velocity just for real quick to see if these numbers verify. So yeah, we're looking at 60-mile-an-hour winds in this general area from the storm to as it pushes. So that kind of gives me an indication there's a little gust front as well ahead of the storm. I'm not seeing anything of rotation at the moment, but again, I'm sure that we will, and the National Weather Service we'll definitely be watching that particular. This is a very, very, very high rated DBZ for this particular area right here. No doubt some pretty good hail's falling. This is the area we're going to watch in general, right next to Uvalde, showing a potential, I'm not going to say a hook, but it's just showing something very interesting right here where the inflow is coming in, and then we have this rear flank downdraft coming on this way. Not saying there's a tornado here, but this is definitely an area to watch as it approaches Uvalde. We're just going to keep an eye on that just to see what's going on there. And as we look at, I'm going to look at any potential hail size, see if that's accurate. This is interesting. There's got to be, I'm going to take another reading, but I'm looking at the radar indication of any kind of potential hail here, and we're looking at 4 to 5. Now, this is radar indicated. That does not necessarily mean that's what is exactly falling, but again, that's just something that's very, given the very high value I'm seeing here, I wouldn't doubt if we're getting some pretty good hail there. As a matter of fact, let me turn on the hail monitor and see what it's saying. According to the radar, it's saying that it sees 4-inch hail. So definitely something to look at. Now I'm going to actually switch radars to KWX, and I'm just going to check for something here. Going to get a different view of the storm. It's going to take a little while to load. Yep. So this is a telltale sign, guys. When you're looking at radar, when you see this guy right here, this little spike, this is called a 3-body scatter spike. When you see this kind of a spike on radar, that indicates some very large hail is falling, and you can see it's right here where it's detecting almost 4-inch hail on that particular storm that we were talking about earlier. And the way we know that this is a hail spike is you look at the actual radar site and you draw a line to where the storm is, and then if you see this kind of appendage at that storm, that's actually just a radar artifact. It's essentially saying that the beam is being drifted downward a little bit before it makes it back to the radar receiver. And so we get that little hail spike. Looks like that hail may be actually diminishing a little bit as that hail spike is kind of losing its deal. But as we go up a level on the tilt, you can definitely see that hail spike. So again, if you see that on any kind of radar you're looking at, whether it's radar scope, WSV3, any kind of radar, and you happen to see that, that's just a good indicator that this particular cell is dropping some pretty good hail right. I mean, it's probably going to be to the north of Uvalde. But again, if you're in that area or have friends in that area, you might want to warn them in terms of putting in their vehicles in the garage. We don't want any issues with that kind of stuff as that continues to go. Pushing to the east, let me look at another track check and see if we can get some tracks here. I'm really taxing my computer here. So it looks like we're looking at tracks. I'm getting the hail indicator. Let me turn that off. Here we go. Almost 50 mile an hour for that particular cell. This one's going 20. Again, you can see the inflow here as these cells that were moving from Sabinal to Hondo, they're starting to merge and going towards this particular cell here. And then we see an additional development again just southwest of Hondo as these storms continue to push east. And that's what's concerning me a little bit. They're not essentially severe warned, but there is just some additional development ahead of this as it continues to push east. These areas right here, these cells are not severe warned, but again, something to look for or towards, look at as these storms continue to push to the east at around 30 to 40. We are going to say hi to Vorzo here. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you guys taking time to check out our coverage. Again, this is live off the cuff coverage. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer. If you're on our Twitter page, we are not monitoring Twitter at this time. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in here on the Twitter app, or if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and type your comments there. We'll be able to see them, and we'll be able to give you guys whatever questions we can hopefully answer for you. Looks like the severe warned storm that we saw the hail spike on now has a potential of either 4-inch hail. So what we had seen earlier about the 4 to almost 5-inch hail that was reported by radar, looks like that was actually verified. And this severe thunderstorm warning has now been upgraded to and say that it's 4-inch hail and 70 mile an hour winds. I would assume that that is for this particular cell here, although the cell up here just to the northwest of Sabinal is also showing some good indicator of some big hail there. So let's go ahead and bring up the hail size just one more time. Let's do the probing, and we're looking at 3.5 just to the northwest of Uvalde, and just to the northwest of Sabinal, we're looking at 3.5, almost 4-inch hail. So that definitely warrants the warning that we've seen here for 4-inch hail and 70 mile an hour winds. The storms have had a history of producing some good hail. So let's go ahead and show a quick, what we call a hail swath. And you can see what the kind of hail we've been seeing throughout the night. It's been a hail of a night. Sorry for the bad joke. But as you can see, we've had some pretty good hail right around Brackettville, almost 3 inches. It comes down in size as storms kind of pulse a little bit and regenerate. And then we go back to the 2 to 2.5 inch hail just to the northwest of Uvalde. And again, almost 3.5, almost 3.5 inch hail by Sabinal as they move to the north, as the cells move to the east. But looks like right now these cells are staying away from the well-populated areas, which is a good thing. But just know that these cells continue to develop and continue to move in the general direction of San Antonio. So we'll just continue to watch as these cells continue to push to the east. And it looks like earlier we were seeing a little bit of a decline in the storm activity in terms of intensity, but it looks like now that is actually gaining some additional strength as these storms continue to push to the east. This may start to look like a potential issue for the Bandera area, Bandera County, Castroville, potentially up to our north in Kendall County and Kerr County. More to that area, hopefully, that these severe storms stay to our north and not essentially bring any potential issues on our end. Looks like we have, let me look, seeing what we got here. Not seeing anything on that. Let me bring up watches. Getting some comments here. We got our tornado watch is to our west still. The latest information we got. It looks like now we have a tornado watch now for San Antonio just coming in. Looks like our friend here. This is my friend Martin, my partner. Welcome, Martin. If you can't get in, I'm sorry. I'm kind of trying to run this at the same time. Let me know again what your issue is. Let me see if I can get you in now. But it looks like a tornado watch now has been expanded to the San Antonio area. This just in. Um, and then it looks like here it appears storms are getting stronger as they could. Yeah, so it's due to the Cape. We have just plenty of Cape. We have plenty of moisture. We just have all the ingredients coming into play to get these storms to continue. Whatever issue we had yesterday or last night with the cap, that's no longer a concern at this point. The cap is no longer an issue as these storms have already fired up and they continue to push to the east at 30 to 40 miles an hour. Um, Again, if you don't mind holding for a second, guys, we're going to go ahead and put this in motion. I'm going to try to see if I can get my partner Martin on board, and I'm going to mute my mic for a second. Just we'll keep watch radar for a second as we see what's going on with my partner. I'll be right back. All right, everybody, we're back. Sorry for that. We were just trying to get my partner in here. Again, we're seeing this severe thunderstorm warning that now has a potential of up to 4 inches of hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds just issued for most of Uvalde. And it looks like it's now approaching Hondo area, the particular county that's affected there. We also have another severe thunderstorm warning just right nearby Del Rio again, where this particular cell had originally formed. And this one looks, though, however, that it's moving towards the northeast. So hopefully the area of Bracketville that earlier was hit will not get hit again. And then look again, we continue to see strong storms down to the south as well towards Piedras Negras. Again, this continual development is expected throughout the night as the system, this low pressure and trough, continues to push to the east, thereby allowing us to get these storms to form. And then as you can see now, the tornado watch that was earlier to our west now includes all the counties of San Antonio, obviously, but along the east as well. So as you can see, the tornado watch is now including all of San Antonio proper and Bexar County. So we are now under a tornado watch till, let's see if we can get the information here, till 11 p.m. tonight with maximum hail of 3 inches, wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour possible. This is not technically a particular dangerous situation at this moment, but at the same time, that tornado watch is up, and now we have a tornado warning that just came up for the areas around Sabinal and looks like Hondo. So if you're in the areas of Sabinal and Hondo, you're under a tornado warning till 7:30 tonight, as a tornado has been radar indicated. Let's see if we can go ahead and show that on velocity to see where we can find that potential tornado. And let me turn on some things here. Storm relative. So I'm trying to see where this particular signature may be occurring. It looks like it may be right in here where that particular radar indicated tornado may be occurring. Again, if you're in the Sabinal area or or if you're near the Hondo area or anywhere in between on Highway 90, be aware that you're under a tornado warning and seek shelter. If you're on the road, seek shelter as soon as you can on any side of the road. And if you're in the Sabinal or Hondo area, again, seek shelter for a potential tornado. Again, this was where we had shown earlier that the storm relative helicity was pretty high in that general area, and it continues to be for this general area. So again, the numbers are kind of low for the San Antonio, Bexar County area. They do apparently get a little bit more increase with the westward trajectory as we push the probe further. Anything above 200 to 300 is essentially a better chance for a more violent tornado to occur. And obviously, if you're in the 5 or 6, you're definitely in that zone for potentially really, really violent tornadoes to occur. Again, they taper, this particular value tapers off as it moves into Bexar County, so that's definitely some good news. That doesn't necessarily preclude or exempt the fact that a tornado may not occur in Bexar County. However, we just want to let you know that these parameters are indicative that a tornado, especially now that we have a severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning just to our west, that the atmosphere is primed for tornado formation. So keep that in mind as these storms continue to head to the east, that these potential storms themselves could drop a tornado. So again, we are under a tornado watch till 11:30, I believe. Let me make sure. Just click on that here till 11 o'clock. Sorry. And this particular tornado warning is up till 7:30. And again, that is covering the Sabinal and Hondo area. If you're in those general areas or on Highway 90 between Hondo and Sabinal, be aware that you're under a tornado warning for that area as we continue to monitor these storms pushing to the east, this particular cell. And let's see here. We have additional cells over here as well. Let's continue to push this in motion and watch this as the storm continues to push to the east. And let's turn off the storm. We don't need the severe watches anymore. So we'll just continue to watch this. If you have any questions, again, we can go ahead and answer. But at this point, we're continuing to see this severe weather push off to the east, and we remain on the slight risk here in yellow and the marginal risk. Again, regardless of color, we are all generally in the risk for severe weather tonight, and that'll continue probably until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Once this cold front and trough push out of here, we're looking at these potential severe weather to continue. Don't normally like to do this, and I probably won't. I was going to show you some model data, but given that we already have severe weather already to our east, it makes no difference in terms of what we are going to get overnight as we head into the evening and overnight hours. We're already in the severe situation that it is now. Again, we're getting 2.8 hail reports just in Uvalde right there, near Uvalde, almost 3-inch hail reports being reported just to the northwest. So those hail indications and signatures we got from radar earlier were pretty much on the button. That's some very large hail. This is where we remember we saw the hail spike. So clearly we're getting some pretty good hail coming out of these storms as they move on along with a potential tornado that's being indicated by radar as this continues to move to the east. We have this particular storm, again, doesn't look like it's moving in the general direction earlier like these other cells. Looks like if you're in the Camp Wood area, you might be affected as it continues to push to the northeast. Let's just run that into motion. So if you have anybody in the Camp Wood or Lakey area, you may have some potential issues with a severe thunderstorm that's moving to the northeast on that side. Our main concern for Bexar County, obviously, is this right here. As this big cell right here moving to the east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour is a severe thunderstorm warned cell and a tornado warned cell that's been radar indicated. While we continue to watch this cell, let's turn off this for a second. Let's bring up the GOES satellite just to show you how scary this guy looks on satellite imagery. Just as you see, as I put it in motion, I'm going to take off the local storm reports. That is just a scary looking cell, guys. That is just a majorly scary looking cell in general that is pushing in general to the east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. You're seeing a little bit of white here, some of the ground there, but that's just the way the radar is just interpreting the colors. But as you zoom out, that is just a monster, a beast of a cell. And that is essentially moving in our direction. So again, if you haven't made any preparations, go ahead and do so now. Secure any loose objects in and around your area. If you have your cars outside, and if you can, go ahead and park them in your garage just to be on the safe side. Should this cell essentially die and weaken before it makes it into Bexar County, that's awesome. We want that. But just in case that's not the potential situation for this particular activity, go ahead and stick in your cars and in your garages. And if you can, go ahead and store and secure any loose objects in your house, or if you can, business, if you're still there. These storms will pack a wallop, as we've said earlier. They are severe warned, and in the case of a tornado, this particular cell right here is tornado warned as well. And we continue to see, I'm going to zoom in on a little bit, this guy right here, we continue to see these cells just to continue to just develop as these cells continue to push to the east. So this is again what we're continuing to watch, this inflow of development right as this mother cell continues to move to the east. So again, that is what concerns us, as the additional developments being fed from the south, and it's just allowing this cell to continue to grow and move to the east and continue to provide the hail and now what looks like the tornadoes and so forth. So we're getting a question from Mr. Andy. First of all, thank you, Andy, for your nice comments. And Andy's asking what would cause the storms to fizzle so quickly before making it to Bexar County or Comal? If we had any kind of interruption in, say, the Cape values, let's say if the Cape values were to drop for which I don't see happening, but if we're going to see if we can bring up the Cape values here. It may not bring it up since I got like 30 things running. But if the Cape values are really low, let me see if I can bring them up here. Let's go ahead and bring up surface here. There you go. So if these numbers were not in the 4 to 5,000 range in terms of joules per kilogram, if we were starting to see, say, numbers in the 2 to 300, 500 range, which is over here behind the actual trough, that would definitely be the thing that kills the actual storms, because there's not enough fuel. But as you can see, one of the reasons these storms continue to grow is that we have these enormous Cape values ahead of the storm. And as you see that as these storms continue to move to the east and we see the development, you can see that we have plenty of fuel right here as well that's causing these storms to definitely form. So that's one. The other thing that would definitely potentially kill a storm from forming would be the dew points. Let me see if I can bring the dew points up. If we're at 55 degrees dew point or below, storms really have a hard time in developing. As you can see, we have dew points in the 70s ahead of these storms. So again, we have that ingredient, we have the Cape ingredient, we have the lift ingredient to the west that's pushing to the east. So Andy, to answer your question, at this time, I'm not seeing any indication of anything that would prevent these storms from fizzling or decreasing in intensity as they push to the east. I'm hopeful something does allow that to happen so we don't get the 3-4 inch hail in San Antonio. But at this point, all the ingredients are pointing to the fact that these storms will continue at their current intensity or intensify as they continue to push east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. So let's bring this in again. I know it's kind of looking kind of messy, but it looks like we're just getting some additional development around here as well. This is just something I'm not liking, in that we're just seeing just this development continual to allow this storm to continue to grow and move towards the east, it looks like. And we are now, the severe thunderstorm warning is just at our boundary. So just keep an eye, guys, that it probably in the next couple of 20, 15, 10, 20 minutes or so, wouldn't be surprised as a severe thunderstorm warning now becomes part of the San Antonio, Bexar County area. If you're on the western side, Elotes, I'm talking to you. Great Forest, I'm talking to you. In areas surrounding that area, Dominion, these areas, if you're in anywhere in these areas at this point, might want to make any kind of preparations now for any potential severe weather that could be affecting you or could affect you in the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. We're looking at the potential of very large hail up to 4 inch. And in this particular cell down here is a tornado warned cell. So we could also be looking at a potential tornado or at the very least straight line winds. So again, if you're on the western areas of Bexar County, I'm talking Dominion, Gray Forest, Elotes, even Leon Valley, Lackland, you're in these general areas, basically 1604 on the west side, start making your preparations to put your car in the garage, go ahead and store your loose items or secure them as these storms, especially this big storm, is moving to the east at around 30. Let's get another quick update on how fast this particular storm is going. And it's looking at 20 now. It's doing an update now, 28. So 20 to 30 miles an hour, 20 to 40 miles an hour, 30 to 40, give or take. Again, we're watching these storms as they continue to push to the east. And let's do another measurement from how far away these general storms are. We're looking at 20 miles an hour. I'm sorry, 20 miles away from the leading edge of the strong storms. So again, if you're on the western side of Bexar County, make your preparations now. Park your cars in the garage. Stay away from windows. Anywhere that has windows, should these storms produce the 3 to 4 inch hail that has been already reported. I do not see at this time anything that's going to prevent these storms from increasing or remaining with the same intensity. So at this point, prepare for the potential of some severe weather as these storms continue to move towards the east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. And we have a severe warn cell here, and we have a tornado warning for this particular cell between Sabinal and Hondo, continues to around 7:30, if I'm not mistaken. And this severe thunderstorm warning here continues to 8:15 for this big cell here. I know it's kind of confusing. We have warnings within warnings, but again, it just goes to show the volatility of these cells as they continue to push east. And again, I can't stop saying this. This guy right here just continues to just alert me that there's just so much instability. These storms are just forming, and then they just get sucked up to the cell up here, and it just allows it to grow. And that is why I continue to see why these storms are not dying. And that is why it's imperative that you prepare and make sure that your home is got your secured, loose objects are secure and or stored, and that you're, God, I'd hate to see anybody's car get screwed up with any kind of hail, especially if we're looking at 2 to 3 inch hail. That's pretty big out there. Let me get rid of telestration here. So we can go ahead and put that in motion again. You can continue to see the development, just a continual cycle, and see how that just storm just gobbles it up. See how that just gobbles up the cells that are being developed, and that is what's causing this particular cell here to continue to grow and increase. So again, we continue to monitor the storm. We have a severe thunderstorm warning just to our boundary, to our west. That includes Castroville, Hondo, Sabinal. We have a tornado warning now that looks like it includes to the east of Sabinal and now to Hondo proper. And I'm sorry, still getting that little text there, little color. I'm trying to get rid of that there for us. And then we have the severe thunderstorm over here. We're not too concerned with this one, as that one appears to be moving to the northeast and headed towards Camp Wood and Lakey. We have additional storms over here down to the northwest of Piedras Negras. So we are going to continue to watch these storms as they continue to form. And again, the scary part is these guys right here that just continue to fluff up and then continue to be sucked in by this guy right here, this huge monster of a storm. as it continues to push east. We're getting we're getting a question here. Why aren't there any many tornadoes in Bexar County? Well, are you talking? I don't think you're talking about this particular cell or this particular situation. We do. You're welcome, sir. Real quick. Cape Valley is very low. So yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much. Back to the question here. Why aren't there many tornadoes in Bexar County? Actually, we do get our fair share. It's just that sometimes what may occur is the way the landscape of, and I'm going to kind of tilt this a little bit so you can kind of see it. So as you know, we have the hill country right in this general area, and they kind of just kind of the elevation diminishes a little bit as we get closer towards the southeast. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there's about 1,000 feet elevation difference from the southeast areas of Bexar County to the northwest areas of Bexar County. Given that, and the fact that just the topography, what happens is sometimes as these storms come in, and I'm hoping that that would happen for this one, but sometimes with these storms, as they go from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, anytime you have air that kind of goes downsloped, you kind of warm it up. And in terms of warming it up, it tends to dry out as well. Anytime you do that, when you try to do, you may have remembered a couple of days ago, we had a cold front come in, and instead of cooling the temperatures, they actually warmed. And that's because we had some downsloping from the hills of the hill country. And as the front moved in from that general direction, the air actually went down. And as it was pushed down, it got heated and it begins to be a little drier. And what happens is as these storms that are severe to our northwest move towards the southeast, they hit that topography, and that what sometimes causes these tornadoes, I'm sorry, these storms to weaken and therefore not produce as many tornadoes. But San Antonio is just as likely to get tornadoes as pretty much anywhere in the country. If we're not in any way, shape, or form, protected, we do have that little topography issue that may come in play. But at this point, this particular storm, if it remains to be strong, I would not doubt if we see, and I hope not, but I would not doubt if we see some hail and a potential spin up of a tornado, since it's already a tornado warned cell as it continues to push east. Too early to tell if it's going to hit. I'm thinking you're saying Lackland Air Force Base. Too early to tell if the intensity of this storm is going to hit Lackland at this time. At this point, it looks like indications are, should this still continue to remain as is, that portions of western areas of Bexar County will be affected as the storm continues to push to the east. Looking at the Shavano Park area, again, it's a little bit too early to tell. We are not under a severe thunderstorm warning or any type of warning in Bexar County at this time. Obviously, the cell does look very impressive, but it is about 20, 25 miles away. So a lot of things can, everybody cross our fingers, a lot of things can hopefully happen between then and the time it enters our border. The best thing for me to tell you right now is just to keep alert as to what's going on. And as you can see, that this particular cell is severe warned and tornado warned. So just keep in mind that if we're in the areas of Shavano Park, those are asking, or Lackland Air Force, be aware that these storms, this particular cell is severe warned and tornado warned, and it's to our west, moving to our east, to our direction. So be aware of that. And at this time, there are no warnings issued for Bexar County. We are under a tornado watch, though. I'm going to bring that up just to remind everybody. We are under a tornado watch until 11 p.m. So we are under that tornado. So there is a possibility of tornadoes with this particular cell and with any future development to the west. So we continue to watch this cell right here. This is the monster cell we're watching. Again, no warnings in the Bexar County area at this time. So just keep an eye on that and make any necessary preparation to be alert for should the storm enter. Don't be scared, guys. The saying is, don't be scared, be prepared. So if you're anywhere near windows in a location that's maybe not potentially safe, you might want to start looking at, you got time right now to start looking for locations that you can maybe ride out the storm should it approach. The leading edge, technically, of this storm is about 22 miles away to the west of Bexar County. So you have some time to start looking for any potential shelter if you need to, as this particular large cell continues to move to the east. Again, it is severe warned and tornado warned. Right now, looks like the severe storm is dropping potentially up to 2-inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind, potentially. Now it looks like we have an observed tornado. Let me bring up the local storm report and see if we can see that report come in. But apparently now that tornado is no longer possible. It's now been observed. So we have a tornado that's been officially observed for this general area. So it's no longer radar indicated. It is now an observed tornado. So be aware that this tornado warning continues to be in effect until 7:30, which is about 8 minutes from now before it expires. Should it expire, that would be great. We don't need tornadoes in the area. However, it may be extended on towards Castroville. We'll continue to watch. At this point, should this particular cell move in that general direction, looks like Honda could be in the path in about 10 minutes. Castroville at 7:55, Lacoste about 8:01. Again, should this cell continue at its current intensity and path, we're looking at the current time of estimated time of arrival should all that condition be met. So this is just for now general outline that if you're in Hondo, be prepared for the next 10 minutes. This severe storm is headed your way. That may looks like has an observed tornado in it. So you might want to start looking for cover or any kind of shelter for that. And then Castroville, for those of you in Castroville or surrounding areas, looks like about 7:55, this storm will be in that general area as well. Again, that is just an estimate to make sure that if the storm continues to push in the same direction and location and the same intensity, those are the estimated times of arrival for that area. So let me turn off that. Again, we're seeing some storms continue to push off from Mexico. At this point, not seeing anything that's going to currently affect us immediately. Again, the main focus is this guy right here. As it continues to push to the east around 30 miles an hour, it is now containing an observed tornado and a tornado warning in effect, along with a severe thunderstorm warning for the entire complex as it continues to push to the east at around 20 to 30 miles an hour. Again, Bexar County currently in the clear, where there are no warnings or at this time for any sections of Bexar County. Perfect time for you to get yourself prepared for any potential shelter you may need from hail or in a potential tornado. Now is the time to start looking for that and make those preparations. Gather your family together and just be aware that this particular monster cell is moving to the east at 20 to 30. Looking at any other questions here, you're welcome. Stay safe out there, Allie. We hope everything is okay in your general area. Joseph, you're welcome. Thank you for the answer. Thank you for keeping us informed. That's why we're here. We apologize if the live is a little jerky here. We're just trying to get the information out as quickly as possible and trying to keep you guys informed, but we appreciate your comments and supports. Right now, we're getting a question here. What main threats for Bexar County? Anything. We can have anything from large damaging hail, damaging wind gusts up to 70, 80 mile an hour, and a potential isolated tornado. Potentially, we already have one observed to our west. So those are the main threats for Bexar County. So it's all the severe weather elements that you would ever want in a severe weather environment. So anything from large hail up to 3 to 4 inches, damaging wind 70, 80 mile an hour, and the isolated tornado. Those are the main threats. And looks like that tornado warning has been expanded. Doesn't look like it currently affects the Bexar County proper area, although a little bit of that area is covered. So guys, if you're in Lacoste, you might go ahead and get a tornado warning. Guys, stand by for 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit and bring the radar in motion while I get some more data for you. Sorry, everybody. We're just getting some information that there were some power flashes reported in D. Harris with this tornado warning. It is rain wrapped, this particular tornado. So that is one of the dangerous ways to have tornadoes, is when it's actually rain wrapped in the actual storm. And again, we're continue to see this continual cycle of these storms and this inflow as it pushes in towards the storm. It just helps intensify the storm as it continues to push east. And we have a tornado warning just to our east of Bexar County. Although, if you really zoom in, it looks like the extreme western areas of Bexar County are under this tornado warning. So, if you're on this extreme western half right here, let me kind of pause it here, right on the edge of the county line on I-90 and 35, you're under tornado warning for an observed tornado as it continues to push east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. Again, this tornado warning does encompass the extreme western areas of Bexar County. And then we have the severe thunderstorm warning right at the Bexar County border on the west side. This is a time to prepare, folks. If you are in generally this area on the western side of Bexar County, even if you're not under a severe warned polygon, make your preparations for this cell. I do not see this cell at any point in time diminishing as it approaches Bexar County. And we're looking at 2 to 2.5 inch hail potentially with this cell. We're looking obviously with a tornado that's already been observed and are apparently causing some issues. So if you're in this general path, I'm going to draw it out right now if I can here. I'm going to draw you a path so you can kind of see it. Let's see here. So if you're in this general location in Bexar County, keep an eye out for the potential severe warned cell that's coming in from the west. So I'm not saying that this area is going to get hit, but given the current information I have, the current movement, the current intensity, and the fact that it is tornado warned, if you're just generally around just north of Leon Valley, basically right between 410 and 1604, north of Somerset to just say Elmendorf on the bottom side of the county, on the eastern side, China Grove to Universal City. If you're just in this general area right in here, keep your eyes out for the potential of not only severe weather with hail and or gusty, damaging winds of 70 miles an hour, but also the potential of that tornado that apparently is rain wrapped as it approaches the county. Should you, and it's only if it's safe to do so, apologies, should you encounter any kind of hail, whether it's pea size to anything above that, if you encounter some major wind or you see any kind of wind damage, if you happen, unfortunately, to observe any kind of tornado damage, please, and if it's safe to do so, please report that information on Twitter using the EWX spotter hashtag. That information is very important to be reported to the National Weather Service, and that's the best way to do that. And what you do is you report the time, event, and location. So if you encounter or witness any kind of severe weather, whether it be large hail, whether it be damaging winds, a fence got blown over, a tree got blown over, unfortunately you witness any kind of tornado damage or even a tornado or funnel cloud, please, if it's safe to do so, take an image if you can, and if not, at the very least, report that information with the time, the event, and the location using the hashtag EWX spotter on Twitter, so that the National Weather Service is aware of that and can go from there. Leon Springs, I mean, you're in the path. Pretty much anybody in generally, and you're probably wondering why I'm asking here. So what are your thoughts on Leon Springs area? Essentially, all of Bexar County is under the gun. I just happen to point out that where I'm looking at what looks like to be the severe, at this point right here, looks to be the severe core. That's not to say that this area up here may not be producing some hail, but right here is the main focus that I'm looking at, and I just basically drew a parallel line across Bexar County as we're at this point where I think this particular cell is going to affect at this time. So if you are on the western edges, whether it's Leon Springs, Leon Valley, Shabano Park, Dominion, Leon Elotes, Great Forest, any of these areas, even Lackland, you are in the potential path for not only some very bad hail, damaging hail, but some severe, some tornado potentially, as well as it continues to push to the east. I'm going to go ahead and put that in motion. As you can see that this cell is moving pretty quickly to the east. Disregard this area up here. That is just our normal nocturnal bats. That is not a cell that's developing. So please ignore that. Again, if you are on the extreme western sides of Bexar County, even though we're not severe warned, make your preparations now to either look for shelter, find shelter, park your car under the garage, whatever it takes to ensure that you are safe and that your possessions are safe as this severe warned and tornado warned cell continue to push to the east. Let's do another quick look. Again, the dew points are way up there in the 60, 70 degree range, so we definitely have the moisture. Let's look at the MU Cape, and I don't think I can get that one going there, so let's go to Mezzo and get it from there. And again, we're at the 3 to 4,000 joules per kilogram. A lot of Cape. That's just a lot of fuel in Bexar County for this storm, this severe cell to feed from. So again, please do not wait till the last minute to make your preparations. Stay away from windows. If you encounter any type of hail as the storm continues to push to the east, stay away from any windows. We were having a little issue with lightning. I know lightning compared to everything else is not a big deal, but there's obviously some lightning with this cell. We're having some issues where it's reporting lightning up here, up north. I'm not sure what's up with that, but clearly there would be lightning with this cell as well. So be aware of lightning as the storm continues to move towards the east. When thunder roars, go indoors. We don't want anybody obviously hurt with lightning. And we push. So we continue now to see another cell just behind this one. So we're going to start looking at some potential training here. And you notice that earlier this cell was moving more towards the northeast. It's starting to look like it's taking a right-hand turn. And as you can also see, who can name what this is? We talked about it earlier. So if anybody can name what I'm pointing at, I'm going to zoom in on it right here. If anybody knows what that is, then if you were watching earlier, you know that's a hail spike. That means that this particular storm is dumping some pretty good hail. And at first, if you remember earlier, it was kind of going towards Camp Wood and Lakey. Now it looks like it's doing more of a turn to the right, which is also showing a potential severe supercell characteristic as this storm continues to grow. Let's do a particular, as we continue to watch this other storm to our right, we can't forget that one. Let's do the estimated hail size right here near Bracketville, which earlier got some good hail earlier. Looking at almost 4.5-inch hail just to the east of Bracketville, 3-inch hail. So these storms mean business, guys. So if you haven't done so in general, not for this just storm, but for this storm over here, park your cars in the garage and stay away from windows. Let's look at the hail general estimate for this particular cell, looking at 3 inches, looking at 3.5 inches, 3.5 inches there, almost 4 inches on this just to the west of Hondo. So these are not little penny dime-sized hailstones, guys. So if you haven't done so, make your necessary preparations as this storm supercell continues to push to the east at around 30 miles an hour. And I'm going to try to see if I can put this in motion. I would not be surprised as the storm continues to push that some of the areas of Bexar County become part of this warning. At least more in general. So again, if you're on this western side, please do the necessary preparations now so that you are prepared as the storm severe cell enters. And Joseph, you hit it right on the nose. That spike is essentially a hail spike, indicating the very severe large hail is falling from that cell. So good answer there, my friend. So do a zoom out here. And then, by the way, we're not the only ones suffering from this severe weather. Obviously, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, San Angelo area, and we continue to see the development back here Obviously, anything back here is going to push to the east, or at least it looks like. Let's do a little run here. And you can kind of see this guy becoming a right mover. Again, that just indicates that the storm is starting to increase so much that it's now defying the mean flow of a north, southwest to northeast direction. It's now saying, screw everybody, I'm just going to go to the east. That is a characteristic of a supercell, and it's developed its own mesocyclone of sorts, and it's acting on its own in terms of the rotation, and is pushing off to the east. I would not would not doubt if that particular cell or that particular area is, yeah, it's under some good helicity. So I wouldn't doubt if this also decides to do a little rotation and spin up a pretty good little tornado as well, just like this cell over here has done. So again, the helicity values are obviously very high to our east. I'm sorry, to our west. We are still kind of moderately low. Not to say that we're not going to get a tornado, but potentially not as violent or as strong as what these guys on this side are seeing over here by Brackettville. The higher the number, the more likely a violent potential tornado is, or the helicity, the rotation in the air is, thereby producing a potentially more dangerous and severe tornado. So we're looking at 500 meters per second, and this one over here, as we get to San Antonio, that drops down to 140. So not to say that we're out of the woods, but hopefully not as severe should a tornado continue to spin up, not as severe in that general area. So I'm going to turn that off. We're going to come back and zoom in on the fact that we are continuing to watch the severe cell that currently is just right on our doorstep on the border of Bexar County. Severe thunderstorm warning now in effect till 8:15 for this cell, and this tornado warning now in effect until 8 p.m. for this particular, and it is observed currently looking at between Hondo and Castroville is where this potential tornado threat is. So if you're in this general area, especially on Highway 90 as it goes into San Antonio again is not under any kind of severe warnings right now. However, I will not doubt that in the next 20 minutes, that severe weather that we're seeing continues to push to the east, that these warnings do not begin to propagate into the Bexar County area. So again, I cannot emphasize enough to prepare now that you have time. Please prepare and get your cars in the garage and get any loose objects secured or stored around your home as this particular severe cell continues to push to the east. Earlier, we had thought that as these cells continued to push to the east, they would weaken, but at this point, it doesn't look like they are. Right now, I'm looking at not only velocity to see the potential rotation around Hondo, but I'm trying to get a general feel of the winds that are coming in with this cell, and they're looking at around 50, yeah, give or take about 50 miles an hour with this particular cell. Everything above that is around the 30 or 20 mile an hour range. Let me try just something else real quick. Now, if we add the storm, this is actually looking pretty impressive. This is probably why we're getting that tornado warned right here. We're getting some pretty good, almost 195, 96 mile an hour winds right north of Highway 90, potentially right to the east of Hondo. This is the area that they're concerned about. So again, this is not something to play with, folks. This is actually as real as it gets in terms of any kind of severe weather. And again, you can see that this is updating and it's obviously pushing to the east. We are still not at the point where the Bexar County is severe warned in terms of tornado or severe thunderstorm, but you can see that it's inching ever closer. Again, I cannot emphasize enough that if you have a car outside that can be put in some kind of shelter or in kind of a garage, now's the time to do so. This tornado warned and severe thunderstorm warned cell is pushing essentially to the east at around 20 to 30 miles an hour. And we continue to see additional strengthening as it continues to move forward. At this point, if I were to take a guess, looking at this cell anywhere around the 1604, maybe just south of 1604 area to just the south on 1604 on the south side. If you're anywhere between these two areas, watch out. That looks to be the more potent part of the storm as it continues to push east at around 20 to 30 miles an hour. Let's just get another track on it. And it's looking at 40 now, give or take. Let's see what it says here. Now it's saying it's speeding up a little bit to 63. We're just going to have to keep watching that. But apparently this now storm has now no longer become observed, and now it's become radar indicated, given that this particular signature remains for this particular storm. And it continues to be right around just to the southeast of Hondo, riding on Highway 90. Again, let me do a quick measurement, guys. Sorry if I'm breathing a little heavy. I'm just trying to keep up with everything that's coming in. So should this cell continue to push to the east at the current rate, just around Lackland, that's this potential tornado. This radar indicates about 20 miles away to your west. So not saying that Lackland you're going to get hit. Not saying anything like that. I'm just saying get prepared, guys. Just get prepared for this monster of a storm as it continues to push to the east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. Hail has dropped from 3 inches and 4 inches from below now to about 2.5. That's still enough to damage roofs. That's still enough to damage cars. Again, this is a monster storm that's moving to the east. And at this point, there is a slight sliver of Bexar County under the tornado warning if we really want to kind of touch that. But currently, I would say in general, Bexar County is not under any kind of warning at this time. That is going to probably change in the next couple of minutes as this severe storm continues to push to the east. This is all bats. Do not worry about this activity or this potential info here. Echo, this is nothing to worry about. This is the guy to worry about right here. And let's move out a little bit. And then we have this other guy down here to also look at. Let's see if this guy is basically following its bigger brother, and it sure is. Remember how earlier it was going towards Camp Wood and Lakey? Notice how it's made that right turn, and now it's following its brother, bigger brother, to the west. I'm sorry, to the east, right behind it. So we're not out of this yet. Once this storm hits and potentially hits Bexar County, we're not out of it because we have its little brother right here, right behind it. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll try to answer as many as we can. At this point, all of Bexar County needs to be on alert. I'm going to take a quick break to kind of breathe for a second. We'll keep this going real quick. I'm just going to bring this up just so I can breathe and be right back.
You're watching Bexar County Severe Weather live.
So if you're just joining us, we have a severe thunderstorm warning just to our west for this cell that is just to our west, approaching right over Hondo and approaching Castroville. This cell also contains a radar indicated tornado right here that is just also a warned to our west cell that's just to our west. It's moving to the east at about 30 to 40 miles an hour. I have noticed a potential weakening of the cell to the north, just a tad. So areas to the north, should this cell continue to push to the east, areas, around north of Fort 1604, maybe, and again, I'm just going to say this right now, maybe out of the woods in terms of any major severe weather. What looks like to be the major severe weather would be like 1604 inner circle to 410, down to 1604 on the south side. For this area, that seems to be the more intense as the storm continues to push to the east at about 40 miles an hour. Again, this is bats. Do not worry about this particular activity or cell echo. This area right here, especially the more intense reds, are the areas that I'm more concerned about. And again, that seems to cover just essentially south of 1604 towards essentially on the south side on 1604. If you're between any of that area right in here, this particular cell, the heaviest part of that particular cell, looks to be heading in your direction. At this point, no severe thunderstorm warning, No tornado, essentially, and no tornado warning for the Bexar County area, except for maybe the extreme western edge, maybe under that tornado warning based on this polygon. But at this point, the majority of Bexar County is not under a warning at this time. However, that may change pretty quickly. So again, keep an eye, make your preparations. If you're generally on the 1604 side, on the north side, and the 1604 side on the south side, anywhere in between, and 1604 on the west, anywhere of that general area, be prepared for this potential severe storm that's moving in from the west at around 30 miles an hour. I'm going to do a little experiment here. I'm trying to see if that's actually a hail spike or if that's actually just some potential additional activity. But we're getting, so I mean, it's getting close, guys. 1604 in Hebner. You're already starting to hear some thunder. This storm is getting close to Bexar County. And again, I will not be surprised within the next 5, 10, 15 minutes that the Bexar County area becomes severe warned as we continue to monitor this activity. Again, we have the big brother. I'm going to call it the big brother right here. We got the little brother right over here that's essentially following its path. And we're just going to continue to watch this guy as he continues to move to the west, I'm sorry, to the east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour, following his big brother over here. Again, this is the guy we're watching right here. I'm going to zoom in on him a little bit. This is the guy we're watching. So, again, a severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning for the cell to our west as it continues to push east. Momentarily, I'm yeah, just momentarily waiting for any kind of severe warning to be issued for Bexar County. So we're getting some questions. So I'm Bexar County. What are the chances of a tornado landing? Chances are pretty good considering we have a storm right to our west that is tornado warned. So given that it's a tornado warned storm that's radar indicated, there's a pretty good chance that there may be a tornado in Bexar County should this storm continue to move in the direction of to the east and continue on the same course and intensity. So let's go ahead and see if we can get some times here. On the southern end of the storm, again, these are all estimated. Looks like Lacoste at 8:19, Little at 8:21, and Somerset at 8:35 in terms of this particular storm arrival on the south side. On the north side, we're not getting, okay, so here on the north side, should this storm continue, and this is starting to show, at least from my software, this is starting to look like this storm may be potentially splitting. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. If it's already kind of showing two arrows like this, it could be that it's starting to split if that's the case. Should that be the case, this side of the storm will potentially hit Elotes at 8:33, Great Forest at 8:35, Leon Valley at 8:38. You can read the rest. Kirby, you're still getting here. Let's see here. Do you have an approximate time? Kirby, a little too early to tell what time it'll hit Kirby at this point. The storm is just way to the west, and we don't know if it'll hold together as it continues across Bexar County. We'll obviously keep watching. The path of the storm is generally to the east, so we continue to monitor at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. We're looking at potentially the storm affecting the airport as it continues to push east. At this point, it's hard to tell since right now we are not none of the Bexar County areas have a severe warn polygon to them. So at this point, we can't say for sure whether any of these general areas will be affected at this time. We are seeing some hail with this storm. This storm has had a history of producing up to 4 inches earlier. This particular severe thunderstorm warnings that are being shown here, and the tornado warning showing up to 2.5 inches of hail. Let me see if I can turn on the hail deal here. See if we can kind of get any kind of hail signatures to show up. And if not, let's go ahead and bring up again the maximum estimated hail size for this storm, and we'll see if we can get that here. Let's see. Come on, guys. We're probably getting a lot of data coming in at this time. So yeah, there's quite a bit of hail that radar is indicating right at the core, almost 3.5 inches, right at the core, right to the east of Hondo, west of Castroville, looks to be the main core. Should this storm continue on its path and its intensity and head to the east like that, this potential hail core may affect Lackland Air Force Base and southern areas of San Antonio. Again, not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying, should this storm continue on this track, this is where the heaviest hail is falling in the storm at the point. Not to say that this hail appears to laugh anything about, but again, the hail, heaviest hail is right in this general area right here. And should it continue to be to the east, you can kind of see where the general area of affected would be with this storm. So I'm just trying to get rid of this illustration here to kind of move this guys over. Again, even if we're in the almost Leon Valley Park, 1.5, 1 inch hail is pretty decent to deal with as well. So again, nothing to laugh at in terms of this cell at the amount of hail that it can potentially contain based on radar estimate. So what happens, we're getting the storm, this question, what if the storm splits? Should it split? It just means that now we have two sections of storms to worry about. What could happen is, and sometimes it does, this storm will continue to push to the south-southeast. This one will then start to take more of a northeast turn. Generally, depends on the storm, depends on the situation. Generally, once the storm, should it split, the north side of the storm tends to weaken a little bit as it continues to push off to the east. So let's go ahead and bring up CC, and could be seeing a potential debris ball with a tornado that's indicated here. We're going to have to keep watching that. What we're looking at now, guys, is what they call correlation coefficient. So anything in red that you're seeing, or even orange like this, essentially that's just telling that the radar is seeing precipitation. This is really rain or storm or whatever, anything meteorological. But anytime you see any kind of blue, anything that's below the 90, 100%, anything below that tends to be anything non-meteorological. It could be a tree, it could be a bird, it could be anything. The fact that potentially where the tornado is, I'm going to stop right now, guys. Central San Antonio, you are now under a tornado warning. This is now crunch time, guys. This is now a tornado warning for the areas of, I'm going to turn this off a little bit. So if you're by Alamo Heights, I'm going to zoom in on now. So guys, if you're in Terrell Hills, Alamo Heights, yeah, Lackland Air Force Base, trying to see here, downtown San Antonio, medical center, it looks like. I'm going to get really close here. Basically, anywhere you're seeing this potential polygon right here, you're under a tornado warning. Seek shelter now. This is no playing, guys. This is a tornado warning for the areas you see outlined. That includes Almost Park. That includes all the way down to the southern area, Somerset. You're included, Lackland Air Force Base Medical Center, downtown San Antonio. Again, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put it back to reflectivity so you can see it better. But again, just south of Balcones Heights, Alamo Heights, you're included. If you're in this general area, you're in a tornado warning until, and let me get that time for you. Let me get out of this and just get that time, till 8:45 p.m. for a tornado warning for this general area right here. So if you're in downtown San Antonio, take cover now. Seek the lowest part of your home, whether it's if you're on a two-story home or if you're in an apartment or hotel, try to go to the lowest level you can and go to an interior closet or room without any windows. This is crunch time, guys. This is not playing around. This is not, we're just having fun. This is for real as it gets. This is a tornado warning for the areas I'm outlining right here in Bexar County. Again, if you're in Lackland, just south of Balcones Heights, riding down Culebra here, and I-10, downtown San Antonio, Alamo Heights, Terrell Hills, trying to see what other little cities I get down in this general area. But you can pretty much tell where you live and where the tornado warning is. Kirby, you asked earlier where we were in terms of Kirby. You're not in the tornado warning at this time. So at this point, keep an eye on the potential of this tornado warning potentially reaching your area. Again, if you're in this general polygon right here that I'm pointing out, right here, you're in the tornado warning until 8:45. Seek shelter now. Go to the lowest part of your home, or in an apartment complex, knock on your downstairs neighbor, and ask him if you can hang out for a little bit while this storm continues to push to the east. I don't know, you know, just huddle together with pillows, be friendly, but please do whatever you can to get to the lowest part of your home with no windows and the most interior location in your home. You don't want to be outside with, let's say, a room next to an exposed wall. You don't want to be outside next to any kind of window. You want to be inside, downstairs, the lowest part of your room, the room that's more centered in your home without any walls or exterior walls or windows around it. Get some pillows, get some covers, comforters, whatever you can to protect yourself from any potential flying debris should that happen. Again, south of Almost Park, Leon Valley, you're not included. Castle Hills, you're not included. However, Alamo Heights, you're included. I-10 down towards just south of 410 on I-10, down towards downtown. Lackland, you're included right here. Let's see here. Medical Center and UTSA, that doesn't look like you're included. But again, this general area right here, if you see this general area, this is downtown San Antonio. This is 410. This is I-90. You're included. If you live in any of these areas right here, and on the east side of the warning, your Alamo Heights, Terrell Hills, anywhere down, just let me call it 410, I-10, just to the east of Terrell Hills. This looks to be Austin Highway, so it doesn't include all the way of Austin Highway. But if you're by Terrell Hills, just to the west of Austin Highway, you're included as well. So again, a tornado warning in effect. And this tornado is radar indicated. Take cover now. So it is, I mean, any tornado is potentially life-threatening. So regardless if it's an EF0 to an EF5, this tornado is nothing to sneeze at. Any tornado can cause damage. So please, if you're in the tornado warned area, take shelter now. Please do not write it out. Do not go outside and try to get a look at it. It's dark or getting dark anyway. This is not the time to go out and check it out and do storm chasing. Seek shelter now for this tornado warning or this tornado that's moving towards the Bexar County area. Okay, now we focused on the tornado warning. I'd like to also point out that now most of Bexar County, actually all of Bexar County except the extreme eastern areas, are now under a severe thunderstorm warning. This just came in, and this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect till 9 p.m. Again, the area in pink right here, if you're in this general area, that includes Castroville. I know that's outside our jurisdiction, but again, if you're anywhere near Castroville, surrounding areas, Somerset, Leon Valley, Alamo Heights, San Antonio downtown, you're in a tornado warning. Now, if you're in the Elotes area, Dominion, Timberwood Park, Stone Oak, Garden Ridge, and I know that's outside, but just to give you a general idea, Universal City, China Grove, and I believe Kirby, Kirby, you're in it as well. Elmendorf, you are in a severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so what do you expect in a severe thunderstorm warning? Potentially could see 2-inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. So again, in the severe thunderstorm warned area, you could see 2-inch hail and up to 70-mile-an-hour winds. In the tornado warned area, which is right here, this purple polygon right here, we're just, my software here is showing you the tornado warning right here. If you're in this general area right here in Bexar County, you can obviously see a potential for a tornado and hail up to 2 inches. So don't panic, Bean. No need to panic. Prepare. Do the best you can to get to the center part of your home. Try to be as far away from any exterior walls or windows. get some pillows, get some covers, and just be prepared for whatever may occur. Not saying that it could occur or that's going to occur. Just be prepared. Again, just go to the center of your home, the lowest part of your home, and surround yourself with as many walls as possible, and get yourself some covers and some pillows, comforters, whatever you can to protect your body, and then just ride the storm out. You'll be fine if you follow those instructions. And then be sure to check in. We'll continue to keep you updated on this tornado as it moves across Bexar County, this tornado warning. Be sure to check in if you can after, just to let us know you're okay. Don't be scared. Just be prepared. Go to the center part of your home and just take cover as best you can, avoiding any exterior walls and windows, please. And just follow those instructions and you'll be okay. At this point, the tornado warning does not include, let me see here, you're just at the edge, but it looks like, as if I'm looking at, here's a 281 interchange, here's 410, the airport's right in here. The tornado warning does not include the airport. However, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. So while you may not be under the tornado warning, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning for this area. I know the map is confusing. Lots going on. Again, as we continue to watch this tornado warning, I'll come back to it momentarily. Just keep in mind the little brother is right behind it, showing that it's still showing some potential. It's not dying at any point. So we just continue to watch. Go ahead and put this in motion. Yeah, this guy is continuing to push to the east as well. So this storm continues to move in. Again, I cannot reiterate enough. If you're in this general area, Alamo Heights, I'm going to turn off the hail. I'm getting some bad hail reading here. Alamo Heights, again, Lackland Air Force Base, downtown San Antonio. If you're in a hotel, you're in a house, you're in an apartment complex, make friends with your downstairs neighbors now and knock on their door and just say you're seeking shelter for a potential tornado that's coming towards Bexar County, and just hang out there for a little bit, stay in the lowest part of the home or the apartment, away from windows, away from exposed walls, and just ride it out as the storm continues to push to the east at around 30 miles an hour. We're already starting to see some pretty good rains and moderate rains now from the Dominion area, Gray Forest area, down to Elotes. You're starting to probably see some heavy rains. Not seeing potentially any hail. I'm going to turn off the message there. But anywhere on the western side on 1604, you're starting to see some pretty good heavy rains, maybe some potentially small hail with this activity just outside the boundary. Again, if you're in this general area right here in the pink, right here, tornado warning until 8:45. This includes downtown San Antonio. Please, again, if you're in this general area, take cover now. If you're in these other areas to the north, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning for mostly potentially 70-mile-an-hour winds and 2-inch hail. I'm going to turn on the velocity, and we're going to see that we're not seeing too much of an issue with winds up here to the north side, but can you kind of see where the concern is? Right in here, guys. This is a concern for the tornado that's being issued, or tornado warning. You can kind of see it right in here. Please, this is the area that is definitely being watched for that tornado warning. That's why we have a tornado warning right in this area, for this area right in here. So again, if you keep watching this storm as it continues to push east, make your preparations now. Get off the road, seek shelter in a sturdy building. If you're out driving around, seek shelter. Do not stay in your car. Do not try to outrun this potential tornado that's radar indicated. Get off the road, go somewhere, whether it's a gas station, some convenience store. If you're in this general area right in here, go ahead and do whatever you can. If you can't get home on time, please go ahead and seek shelter as this potential tornado moves to the east at around 30 to 40. And stand by a second. So correct me if I'm wrong, but is it on land? You saying, oh yeah, there could be a potential tornado on the ground. Right now, we're just getting radar indication of it. But given that this tornado was previously observed, I would not be surprised that this tornado is on the ground and thereby we have a tornado warning issued. So we're not playing around, folks. Again, I cannot emphasize, I know I'm sounding like your mother, but I cannot emphasize how dangerous this situation is. This tornado warning is in effect and it's there for a reason. So please do what you can to find shelter if you're in this tornado warned area right in here. Do what you can to find shelter. Lackland, you're in there. I know somebody earlier mentioned that Lackland would be involved, but it looks like right now the area of concern is to the south of there. But again, we're going to play it safe and say that any area that's in the tornado warned polygon, please do what you can to remain in a shelter at this time. We cannot forget the fact that we also have a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Bexar County. At this point, hail tends to be or seems to be the major issue, some heavy rain. Um, at this point, looks like some heavy rain just south of Dominion. Elotes and Great Forest, you should be getting some pretty heavy rain now. Could be some small hail embedded in this activity, although I doubt it. It looks like heavy activity is also moving into Leon Valley. Shabano Park, you should probably start seeing some moderate rain pretty quickly, as well as Hollywood Park and Castle Hills. But again, the area to the south of there is where our main concern is at this time for the tornado warning that's in effect for the area outlined in pink or magenta, as you can see right in here. Again, that includes downtown, that includes Alamo Heights, that includes Lackland Air Force Base. Essentially, this whole area right down here is under a tornado warning until 8:45 p.m. Trying to get that to come up, and it doesn't want to come up. Yep, 8:45 p.m. And it's a radar indicated tornado. And by the way, even with the tornado, you could also see some 2-inch hail. So please be aware of that. And again, if you're not in the tornado warning, you're not out of the woods yet either, as we have a severe thunderstorm warning for essentially the entire pretty much almost all of the entire county, except for St. Hedwig, is under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. For this particular supercell that's continuing to push. So let's go ahead and put that into motion. Just kind of see how it's been kind of riding. At first it looked like it wanted to split, but it looks like it's just weakening on the eastern side. I'm sorry, the northern side, and the actual area of concern is more towards the south. That makes me it makes me wondering if potentially the tornado warning or the tornado area that the tornado may be at may be trying to push a little bit to the east as well, or northeast. Anyway, we continue to monitor again downtown Almost Park and areas to the west are in the tornado warning. I'm finally going to get some help here. I'm going to add my buddy Martin. Martin, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. You got any news out there? You know about the tornado warning for San Antonio?
Well, it is still continuing. Radar cycle shows that it's been weakening,
Yes.
thankfully, but this storm has been cycling. It dropped something close by to the border, and then it tried to do something again around Uvalde, and now it's doing it, and they can't confirm. The radar's confirming damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to find. Do you see? Can you see what we're seeing? I'm trying to
Yes.
find. So just to point out to the viewers, I'm trying to find the actual. So we're talking about right in this general area. That's what I'm looking at for the tornado potential.
Yeah. It is just south of the highway. It's on 90. It's riding on 90 right now.
Right on 90, right? So it's just general area right in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
been
I just
south of
want.
that and
Okay,
going for the. Yeah.
just want to make sure so that the people that are watching, we have some pretty good viewers at this point. I just wanted to kind of give you an indication where the tornado is. That even though we have a tornado warning in effect, the tornado is still not in the county at this moment. So what happens? The National Weather Service tries to give warnings as much time as possible to give people time to prepare. So while there is a tornado warning in effect, the actual issue is over here just outside the county border. However, the tornado warning is in effect, so we can give you guys enough time to prepare and to essentially get ready for any potential storm that's moving towards your area. Again, go to the lowest part of your home or apartment, and if you don't have, you're living on the second floor, third floor, an apartment, go downstairs again, make friends with your friend, with your downstairs neighbor, knock that you would like to hang out with them if you can, while this storm and tornado moves through. If you're in a hotel, go to the bottom of your hotel. If you're in the upper floors, go down to the bottoms of the lobby. Go ask the manager if there's a potential room that they can, put you in. If they're not aware that there's a tornado warning, you might want to let them know that Bexar County Severe Weather has told you that there is a potential tornado, actually a tornado warning in effect for that area. Again, the airport is not affected in terms of this warning. You are now under a tornado warning if you're in Alamo Heights, downtown San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base, down to the south in Somerset, just generally this general area right in here. And again, it's for this blob right here that's riding Highway 90.
Weather
That is
Service
what we're looking for.
Weather Service is reporting this is going to be rain wrap. It is at least half a mile wide, so you're not going to see this coming in. If you're thinking to go out there and see it, you are not going to. There's a lot of traffic. If you're anywhere around the Medina Annex, anywhere south of there, you're going to be getting hit real quick, real soon. The Medina Annex and areas around La Coste and heading that direction. On if you're on 90 or just north of 90, anywhere outside of 410 in the Research Park area, then you are going to start seeing tennis ball size hails. So now it wouldn't be funny, radical charge. It would be one of the worst case scenarios because it would be going through older neighborhoods, and it would we don't know if they're designed to handle those kinds of winds.
Yeah. So this is, guys, I don't know how much more we can say this. This is a very serious situation for a tornado, a potentially rain-wrapped tornado, and actually not even a potential. It is a tornado that's radar indicated rain-wrapped that is moving towards a populated area. This is pretty much one of the more worst scenarios you can see. Again, I cannot stress enough that if you have not decided to seek shelter, now is the time to do so. You got plenty of warning to do so. If you're driving around, stop and seek some shelter in a convenience store or anywhere you can
Differential
go to find that. Go ahead, sir.
towards that.
Are you there? Breaking up a little bit. Okay, looks like we may have lost Martin. I know he's trying to do what he can to give us as much information as we can get. I'm going to go ahead and, guys, I'm going to switch it from velocity to essentially, I'm going to switch to storm relative velocity so we can keep an eye. What we're looking at, I'm going to bring it up here. What we're looking at, this guy right in here. This is the guy that we're all looking at in terms of the potential tornado or the radar indicated tornado that's moving in a general direction of towards the east. And actually now it's kind of looking like it's doing more of a northeast kind of look. So I'm going to take off the illustration there and I'm going to run this guy and you can kind of see.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All
You
right.
can kind of see the rotation just right by Castroville. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit here. You can kind of see what we're
All right,
looking
can you
at.
go ahead and bring up the specific differential phase so we can show them the hail core?
Yeah, so let me just bring this up real quick. And so let me bring that up. It's taking a time. I think everybody and their dog's trying to get the information as we're trying to get it. So just
Yeah.
have we can get it up. And bear with us, guys. Everybody is trying to get the data, and I got the fastest data we can get. So
So anyway,
you look. Is that what you need?
if, while we wait for it to load, you can see
It's-
that it is making its way along Petranco. If you're on Petranco Road, you are going to be getting some insurance claims later on.
Yeah, this is going to be the part that we hate to say in San Antonio, the H word. And as this continues to push, oh my gosh, it looks like as radar continues to show the estimated size, looks like it's even getting worse. We're now maybe even 4-inch hail just to the west of 1604 and riding Highway 90. So Go ahead, Martin. I'm going to time to take a break from my talking here. Just tell me what you need, and I'll bring it up.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you got to remember the storm has been keeping the hell elevated. So as it starts to cycle down, as it comes into the city, it's gonna drop its tail. If he puts it into motion, you'll probably see it start to the wind start to weaken, and so which is a good sign for tornado damage. But that means all the hail is gonna start coming down. If you're around 410 now, hopefully this thing doesn't cycle right over the city and decide to keep doing stuff again. But you never know on here. This is a long-lived storm. It definitely did some damage around Hondo, and it was going south of there. So this is
This
not going.
storm, this storm is actually essentially came from Del Rio and Bracketville. It essentially started as two cells and it merged into one right over Hondo and Uvalde, and then this is where it is now. It's just an amazing long-lived storm.
Yep, it sure is, and
Let me
it's
see
going to be
here.
long.
I'm gonna get something here. See if I can get. So should this rotation continue, according to this particular software, uh, and should this rotation continue to be the general area that this potential tornado is, I'm putting up potential ETAs for areas that could be affected. So here you are, essentially the times. I'm not saying within the next 20, 40 minutes, Balcones Heights, San Antonio, Castle Hills, Almost Park, Alamo Heights, and Terrell Hills. This is should the storm continue to maintain its intensity and trajectory. I just decided to put this up there to let you know that even though the tornado warning is down here, the rotation could cycle and move a little bit towards the northeast. So just because you happen to be outside the warned area at this time does not mean you should not be or remain alert. Continue to remain alert even if you're outside the tornado warned area, because this can change at any time, and that rotation could eventually come over your general area without you realizing that. So again, I'm going to put this into motion. I'm going to take this off. I want to kind of put this into motion, and you can kind of see that the rotation is kind of taking an east-northeast turn kind of thing. So just keep an eye on the fact that even though the tornado warning is here, don't be breathing a sigh of relief if you happen to be outside the area over here, just in case, as this potential rotation or this tornado continues to push what looks like to the east northeast. And let me bring up, I'm just looking at velocity just for fun. Let me just also bring up maximum again, the maximum hail, estimated hail. So just looking at here, and again, if you're just north of Highway 90, just to the west of 1604, we're getting up to 4.5, almost 4.5 inch hail in this white area, and even the blue is 3. There's definitely some major damage going on for cars or roofs in this general area here. So again, just for the hail part of it, just be aware that that's out there. And then we go back to storm relative velocity so we can see where it's going. So the rotation looks to be just to right on Castroville as it continues to move to the east northeast. Uh, Again, being as I mentioned earlier, just find a center location of your home and away from any exposed walls or outside walls and any exposed windows out there, and just cover yourself up with some blankets and comforters and pillows, and just stay there until the tornado warning has passed. And you should be okay. Just stay at the most center part of your home. Again, keep an eye on the radar and see where you are, and based on that, where the rotation is. You may actually not, even though you may be in a tornado warned area, you may not essentially feel or experience the tornado. However, we want everybody in the warned area to prepare for any eventuality. These storms are unpredictable, and what looked like it was going towards an east type of trajectory has now looked like it's doing more of an east northeast type of trajectory, and that's why we call them sneaky storms on Twitter, because you just can't turn your back on them. You just cannot turn your back on these storms, because they can just out of the way just decide to do stuff without you realizing it. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning. We continue to monitor the storm and the tornado as it continues to push towards the east. And hopefully that tornado begins to die down. I am kind of looking at something here I'm going to kind of point out, but I don't want to forget the severe thunderstorm warning, although it looks like the northern areas of the storm is dying at this point. So if you're in the Stone Oak area, Timberwood Park area, at this point, you're not necessarily out of the woods. You're in severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like the weaker part of the storm is in that general area. What I'm kind of concerned about, obviously, is a tornado warned area, but I'm also looking at that potential. And I think if you guys don't mind, I'm going to keep it in just storm relative velocity just to kind of see that I want to just kind of see this rotation. Now it does look, now you see, this is something you kind of want to look on radar. This is also very promising, hopefully, although I hope it's not what Martin was saying earlier. But you see how it was really bright right here in green, and now all of a sudden you're starting to see the darker greens. And the same thing on this side, you saw the really whites, and now they're kind of turning into just darker. That means that that particular wind rotation is not as strong as it was earlier, but we need to watch this because that could just mean that the storm is pulsing. But this is usually a pretty good sign at this point that the rotation is weakening, but we need to keep watching should that rotation continue to pulse and regain as it continues to push to the east northeast. Just trying to look here. So let's go ahead and do a velocity check. Well, actually, let's do a downdraft potential. So let's look at some of the winds that are, this is called the gust potential. Basically, as storms continue to push through, they bring down the downdraft, brings down the kind of winds that we see. You know, you can kind of see that when a storm's about to hit, you get that cool wind that's coming in. So the downdraft potential is loading up. So I'm waiting for a new scan. So let's just wait for that to kind of come in here really quick. Waiting for that.
So I have a
Go
quick
ahead,
update.
sir.
I have a quick update. If you are west of Lackland and south of SeaWorld, you are seeing baseball-sized hail right now. You are seeing
Oh,
baseball-sized hail. So that is going on right now. It's going to be going further in towards, well, more populated areas. So hopefully you're taking your precautions now because that stuff will hurt you.
yeah. So again, let's see. Let's see if we're getting any kind of storm reports. I think it may be a little bit too early, but let's just see. Okay, so we are getting a storm report just outside of the county for hail. Again, this is just to show the history of the storm. So it looks like almost 2-inch hail is reported just to the west northwest of Castroville. No doubt, probably around the tornado or the rotation that we saw earlier. What is intriguing me is this little purple guy that's showing up right here. I just want to take a quick look at what that may be. Um, that's just intriguing me right now. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on that. That could be a potential, I don't know, that's just something I'm going to keep an eye on just to be safe, but that's just an interesting artifact I'm seeing on the radar there. I'm not seeing it on Storm Relative. The rotation appears to have weakened a little bit, but we continue with the tornado warning in this general area until 8:45, and then I know it's going to be hard to see, so I'm going to bring it back to reflectivity. The rest of the county has a severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock. So we got about another 34 minutes to go. So we're seeing that the tornado appears to be occluding or going away as it cycles, but we're going to keep an eye just because it's going away, or at least it looks like it's going away. Again, these storms can be sneaky, and we just need to
So
keep an eye on that. Now,
we're back towards Uvalde, and
yep,
that's round
that,
two, guys.
yeah, it's round two. Remember we were talking about this earlier, guys, how we had the big brother on this side that's now moving to Bear County, and we had the little brother, which now doesn't look that much of a little brother anymore. That's round two. At this point, it does not look like it has a tornado. But at this point, it is dumping. And let's just for quicks, I really don't want to focus it. I was going to go in there and focus on the hail size, but that's a couple of counties away. We're in the tornado warning right here. We're going to keep it in the tornado area. Again, if you're in Lacoste area, just Somerset, just Lackland, and then just again, just because you may not see a tornado does not necessarily mean you won't see hail. Does not necessarily mean you'll see straight line winds. So just because a tornado warning is not in your area, or just because the rotation is not in your general area, does not necessarily mean that you're not going to feel any major effects of this potential storm as it continues to move with a potential tornado now. Definitely seeing the rotation definitely weakening. That's very good sign. Uh, Seeing some pretty good winds in central San Antonio, at least through velocity. Um, if anybody can corroborate, if anybody watching, and just in general across Bexar County, if you see any kind of winds that are really bad, feel free to comment. We'll definitely highlight that. We want to make sure that other people that are watching this broadcast are aware of what you're seeing. Again, if you're also noticing or seeing any kind of storm damage, whether it be hail, whether it's pea size or golf ball size or whatever it happens to be, if you're seeing any kind of wind damage, fences down, tree limbs down, anything like that, or if you see any kind of wind, tornadic damage, please use the EWX spotter hashtag to help report that on Twitter to the National Weather Service only if it's safe to do so. We don't want you guys to get in any kind of trouble or get hurt. But if it's safe to do so, please go out and submit those reports if you can with pictures, if you can with anything like that, to help augment the report that you're giving so that the National Weather Service is aware that this is going, so that they can potentially help the people downstream, let them know what's coming up and what's going on. Again, I am not seeing, this is storm, we're looking at a kind of a weird looking radar. This is called the storm relative velocity. Essentially, it's velocity, which is showing the winds going away and towards the radar, but we're subtracting the storm movement. And this gives us a truer picture of what kind of winds are out there. And I'm not seeing a rotation as bad as we were earlier. So that's good news in terms of the potential severe weather that we were talking about in terms of the tornado we were talking about. Sorry, I'm just trying to do quite a lot going on here. Now, the major cell of the storm, again, not saying that anything above 1604 is nothing to sneeze at, but it does look like the weaker part of the storm is in the Timberwood Park northern areas. So if you're in that area, you're going to probably get a little bit of wind, maybe some small hail and some pretty, moderate to heavy rain. What we're more concerned about is obviously the area of Alamos Park, San Antonio downtown, Lackland Air Force Base, Somerset, and just generally this polygon area right here, for the potential now of a tornado that has been radar indicated and continues to push east. Now, as we have noted earlier, the rotation has decreased, and I'm not seeing that anymore, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are out of the woods. The storm could just be pulsing, and we just need to be pretty much watchful on that. Again, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning as well for the county. In general, St. Hedwig, you're still in the clear on that, but I wouldn't doubt if you'll be included pretty quick. And then right behind it, we have brother number 2 that looks like is moving in the general direction. And the other thing I'm noticing on brother number 2 is, you see this guy right here? Got a little bit of a bow. So that looks like it may have some potential straight line winds that may be damaging. We're going to keep an eye on that as that storm comes closer. Hopefully it weakens as it gets closer, that we don't have that potential bowing effect, because straight line winds can be just as damaging as a tornado. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. I'm going to look at all your comments. So it is not safe under a bridge. We do not want anyone parking under a bridge, because there may be some first responders. They may need to go somewhere. And if everybody parks under a bridge to avoid the hail or anything like that, you're just going to inhibit the first responders from getting to where they need to go. So if you can find shelter near a convenience store or a department store or a gas station, somewhere that can provide you better protection, where you're not inhibiting first responders, please do not go under bridges and overpasses and park under them. We need to keep that area clear for first responders. Looks like, and I haven't had a chance, Martin, if you're hearing, can you check CPS? And I'll try to see if I can bring it up too, if we're getting any kind of power outages. I know we had some flashes earlier, but I'd like to see if we're probably getting some else. If necessary, I'll go into it in a second. I just hate to move away from radar when we have a tornado warning in place. We're getting our media partners are saying that winds are starting to pick up, which makes sense. Velocity was showing some of the winds. That's why I was asking if anybody out there is in that. Again, unfortunately, if you're stuck on a bridge, if you can, as quickly as you possible, try to get to the side as much as you can. Again, we don't want to potentially
Go ahead and
block any of that.
zoom into the west part of so Lackland. Zoom into Lackland and go a little bit west of that. Bring up the
I'm right here, right?
yeah, bring up velocity.
Yep, right here.
Yeah, you see that?
Let me bring it up in velocity, see if I can get it better. Yeah. So earlier we were talking about the potential rotation over here. Looks like we may be building a potential rotation just west of Lackland. If you're in the area of 410 on Highway 90, and I'm seeing lightning now. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm getting emails here. Stand by here. Um, okay, stand by, guys. I'm getting some data. Martin, if you want to just talk real quick while I get this data coming in real quick.
All right, guys. Quick recap of where we're standing right now. We had a confirmed tornado on the ground east of west of the city, on its way in. It got close to the county line, and it's been drifting up towards the city. It started to cycle in the Clue, and now we are looking at a new region. If you're around Lackland,
Right in here, guys.
if you're in the Lackland area,
Right in
like
here.
not Medina Annex, but the main Lackland base, you should be seeing something there.
So again, if
Now we
you're in the
also have
western areas or around the Lackland area, if you just to be on the safe side, you're in the tornado warned area anyway. If you haven't sought shelter, please seek shelter now just to be safe. Again, there's nothing right now that's saying that there's something there, but our radar is indicating the potential issue or potential rotation around and west of the Lackland Air Force area around the 41090 interchange or intersection. If you're in this general area and you haven't done so, please seek shelter just to be on the safe side for any potential tornado. Okay, we have a new tornado warning that's been updated. Again, it just brings up the fact that it's no longer affecting Castroville, but the tornado warning continues for our county, basically 1604 and 151 down south towards the 3564, 1604 area, including Highway 90 and Lackland, the area where we're talking about. It is now expanded eastward to downtown San Antonio again. Alamo Heights here is still included. Balcone Heights is still to your south a little bit. Kirby, you're not included. But if you're in just generally the same general area you were earlier, you're under a tornado warning. This warning is in effect until 8:45. So apparently not as long-winded as the other one. However, we continue to watch this general area right in here for that rotation that, if it continues to intensify, could affect not just Lackland, but San Antonio, Alamo Heights, Terrell Hills, potentially Kirby and Converse. Obviously, we continue to monitor this general area right here to the west of Lackland Air Force Base. The intersection of 410 and Highway 90 is what we're looking at right now. So at the moment, it's essentially on radar looking like rotation. However, that is a tornado warning in this area. So again, let's assume that that could be a tornado. And for those, I keep forgetting to bring up the questions. It's rotation that we're seeing on radar, but it is enough to at least force a tornado warning for that general area anyway. So let's go ahead and treat it as a potential tornado that could be radar indicated. So let's see here. Getting some reports. Stephanie, thank you. I'm sorry we're a little slow, but Bexar County 151 for tranquil, grape size hail and major winds. Thank you very much for that report. Stay safe. I'm not sure where you are, Ms. Jackson, but the winds are blowing really hard. Again, we are noting some pretty heavy winds in the general area of the storms in general, but mostly in the tornado warned area, obviously. So if you're in the 410 Culebra, we're getting a report of just rain, no hail, and no rain, no wind. Thank you for that report, Ms. Bricker. Pretty heavy bad hail off Wiseman outside 1604. Can't see it because obviously it's dark, but thank you, Ms. Johnson, for that report. And we're getting this report here. It sounded really bad. Maybe rain, it could change. Everybody stay safe. Yes. So we continue to monitor this storm as the cell as it continues to push across the Bexar County area. Again, the major area of concern is right in here, the tornado warned area that's close, that's look like now approaching the downtown area. So downtown, my friends in downtown, please, if you can, stay away from your windows. If you're in a high rise or if you're in a hotel, seek the lowest area of your potential hotel, apartment, home, wherever you happen to be. Please go right now and seek the lowest shelter, the lowest floor, and go to your more interior room with no windows and no exposed outside walls. Please, this is the time to take action. This is what we're looking at right now in terms of the circulation that we're looking at. Looks like right over or near the Lackland Air Force Base, riding Highway 90. Again, I'm going to put this into motion, and you can kind of see what we're looking at right here. This guy right here, as it potentially moves towards downtown San Antonio. Again, if you're in downtown San Antonio or surrounding areas, whether it be Lackland, and then even after downtown San Antonio, Alamo Heights, for example, if you happen to be in this general area, there's rotation indicated and there's a tornado warning for that area. And please seek shelter now. And let me go ahead and go to Storm Relative. Keep asking questions. Do you have any reports? Please feel free to comment them. We'll pass them on to the rest of our viewers. Again, if you see any kind of hail, damaging winds, damaged power lines, whether it's trees, fences, if you see obviously any kind of potential tornado damage, please use the EWX spotter hashtag to report that on Twitter. If it's safe to do so, you can. Please also take a picture or video to accompany that so that we can go ahead and get that information to the National Weather Service. So CPS reporting 4,000 people without power at this time. So we're going to continue to monitor that. I'll bring that up in a second. We're getting a question. The tornado right now, based on velocity, is right around here is what we're looking. Let me bring up velocity again. So you see where this red and this green are kind of mingling together right in this general area. This is where the general idea where the tornado may be, right in here. So if you're in the just north of Lackland Air Force Base, and let me put this into motion again, you can kind of see how the general rotation is happening. And it looks like it may be heading towards the downtown San Antonio, or at least the western northern areas of downtown San Antonio, and it may actually potentially move into the Alamo Heights area as well. We can continue to monitor this as we push that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to bring this up, and we're just going to go to CPS real quick. Sorry guys, we're not, should we say, like your normal television station. I'm sorry, that's not going to bring it up. So the energy. Let's look at the maps real quick. We should have had this up and running prior, but I just decided to go live. We'll continue to monitor the storm. I just want to show the outage map. And if you happen to be in the outage area, please do what you can to report it. So these are the outages that are occurring. Obviously, we have the weather laid out there. I'm going to take that off. So we can just kind of zoom in real quick on the actual locations that are out power. It looks like we have 4,900, over 4,200 people affected with power outages, and currently 19 active power outages across the area. I'm going to keep this map on, and I'm going to go back straight to radar. So quickly that goes. And we continue to monitor this area right in here. You can see that we've actually brought it down a little bit. Before it was kind of you see how we're kind of bringing the circulation more into view with the tornado right in here. As you can see that the National Weather Service is doing an exceptional job of shrinking and pinpointing the area. So at this moment, If you're in Castle Hills, Leon Valley, Elotes, Hollywood Park, you're to the north of the potential tornado or the tornado that's radar indicated. If you're in Somerset, if you're in Lacoste, and at this point, Elmendorf, you're fine. However, if you're right in this area, and by the way, if you hear any thunder coming through my mic, we're just letting you know that we also are affected by the storms that are coming in. And I happen to be on the second floor of my home. However, I am not in the area of the tornado. And you guys are first in terms of making sure you guys are safe. However, as you can see, the National Weather Service has done an exceptional job of pinpointing where the circulation is right near the Lackland Air Force Base, actually to the northeast. And so if you're in this general area, that includes Alamo Heights, San Antonio proper, downtown, this general area right in here, you're under a tornado warning, and that warning is now until 8:45. Now that may actually be extended as this potential rotation continues to push off to the northeast. And y'all can see it right here, right? It's very plain right in here where that rotation is occurring. And essentially what you're looking at is the red and green just coupling together. And so that's what we're concerned about right now. The rest of the county is seeing just general thunder, maybe a little bit of wind and some rain. But our main concern right now is this area right in here. And I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit further as much if I can get really close. And I'm going to bring up some streets. So obviously Highway 90, 151 and Highway 90, you're in that general location of rotation. So again, if you're northeast of the Lackland Air Force Base, you're looking at
Let
the
me make a
rotation right
question.
in there.
Uh, Corregos. I'm sorry if I say that wrong. If you type in where you're at, we'll let you know. But where's that 1.5 inch falling at right now?
Yeah, we need to know location. If it's not safe to go pick it up, don't worry about it. But just if we need to know location and time so we can at least report that to the National Weather Service. So right now, Alamo Heights, somebody's asking about Alamo Heights, and it looks like right now the tornado warning may have expired for a moment, but I think it's probably going to get reissued. We're just waiting for the new issuance. At this, so Alamo Heights, we're going to keep an eye on it. You're very close to where that rotation may be headed. We're going to keep an eye on that. We're waiting for the new tornado warning that may be coming up. Just south of North Star Mall, nice rain, no hail. Our off-post wind just noisy. Thank you very much for your report. Strong winds. Let's see here. Strong winds, heavy rain in Alamo Ranch area. Thank you, Ms. Robledo. Small hail by UTSA, Hausman, and JB Bacon. Sounds like pea-size. Thank you again for your
Just so you
report.
know, guys. Just so you know, guys, if the tornado warning does get is allowed to expire, golf ball size hail, golf balls will be flying out of the storm if you're around 151, anywhere between basically 1604 and 90. So if you like your car, don't be in that general area with the vehicle out there. And if anywhere else, you're gonna be seeing wind, some hail, some stray hailstones can come out to you, especially out near Universal City. You guys are probably just getting a bunch of wind and lightning out there, so it might be scary for you guys. While the the real action has been over
The central
towards the
part of
west
San
side and
Antonio.
south.
Yeah. All right, guys. Looks like everybody is going for the radar data at this time. We're trying to get the radar data as best we can, but at this point, it looks like we're probably overflowing the data that we're trying to get from the National Weather Service, EWX. Again, at the moment, I am not seeing a tornado warning at this time. The previous one has been allowed to expire. We're waiting for a potential, if there's going to be one issued, we're going to see that come up on screen momentarily if it does get issued. Meanwhile, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for basically the entire county except St. Hedwig on the east side and the extreme southern side, but basically everything else around the uh, area in Bexar County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, which means that you could get hail up to 1.75 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. I'm trying to get data, as I'm sure everybody else is trying to get data from the National Weather Service. At this point, we're not getting that, so we're trying to get it as quickly as we can. The good part right now is that we're not seeing a new tornado warning at this time. but we continue to watch for that to appear. Meanwhile, okay, so yeah, we're allowing the tornado warning to expire, but we're going to keep an eye on it just in case, because the storm had been pulsing back and forth throughout the time. Universal City, we're just at this moment, I think you're under, I'm going to check real quick. I would say you're pretty much under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock at this point, for essentially anything of 1 3/4 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. And I keep forgetting to do this. Universal City, there's your update for now. Thank you for your report on 16-4 in Shanefield. Thank you very much. We're getting quarter-size hail down just south of Elotes. Thank you, D. Frank 210. We appreciate it. And so, we have allowed the warning to expire. That's good news at this point. We are not seeing a new tornado warning in effect. Again, it looks like we may have lost our data for the radar. Let me try a potentially other source that can maybe help us bring that in. Let me just bring up another one here. We may have to go to level 3 here. We're just going to see what we can. We may have broke the internet here, or at least broke the EWX. Calming down, yes, it would appear that it is calming down by SeaWorld. Thank you very much for your report in regards to keeping us updated as we hopefully can get this radar up and running again, hopefully soon. Here we go. Looks like we're loading the last full scan. Let's see if we can get the next scan after that. But right now, we continue with a severe thunderstorm warning for most of Bexar County. And don't worry about the potential flash of the tornado watch warning that you may see coming up. I'm trying to put the radar in motion to see if maybe we can load data that way. But at this point, it looks like we may have lost radar data from the source. Not a good time to do that, but at least we're no longer in a tornado warning for San Antonio. So that's really good at this point. So let's go ahead and bring down some information here. We got Peter Marble size hail by Brown Station. Thank you very much for your report. Again, if you happen to see any kind of information like that, feel free to report it and comment it here, or if you want, go ahead and go to Twitter and do an EWX spotter, if only if it's safe to do so, to go ahead and provide that information to the National Weather Service. But keep not getting that radar data. So I think we may have broken the bandwidth limits for the radar. Let me see if I can get MRMS. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to get you something here. See if we can get MRMS here. Let's see if we can load up something for us. But it looks like we may have just broken the entire internet at this point. Not a good thing to have at this point. So let's see. Yeah, we definitely have potential issues with the data. Martin, you get anything on your end by chance? Let's see if we can get
1 second. I'm scrambling also.
Yeah, sorry guys. It looks like we're at the mercy of the internet and the data that's coming out. We go ahead and say, okay, Scorpio vibe 7 slowly calming down by the Alamo Ranch area. Thank you very much for that report. Right now, we're going to have to depend on some reports from you guys as to what you're seeing outside. Is apparently the fact that we almost had a potential tornado in the San Antonio proper area. We may have overloaded servers and the internet traffic in general. We're trying to get the radar data as we speak. But meanwhile, your reports are going to be very helpful for anybody watching. So medical center, you're getting some heavy rain and some wind as well. So if you're in the medical center area, be wary of that. But it's kind of hard not to see radar data come in. But we'll just continue to watch. But again, we continue to see the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Bexar County. And unfortunately, we can't show you the storm because radar's down, but it looks like we have just another severe thunderstorm warning. If you recall, we had the little brother over here previously to round one over here, and it looks like that particular storm is affecting the northern areas now. So it could mean that northern areas who may have escaped the previous wrath of the storm as this one down here came through, it looks like northern areas of Bexar County may get hit with some storms as this second batch is looking to come in. It does not appear, again, it's kind of hard to tell given the fact that we don't have current radar data, but it looks like it's not as severe as the earlier storm in terms of hail, but we continue to watch at least based on warning. And again, we continue to wait for any potential radar resuming or radar data resumption. Meanwhile, heavy rain in the Lackland area. So if you happen to be in the Lackland area, you're getting some heavy rain in that area as these storms continue to push to the east. Not seeing a radar down yet, so not sure exactly what we're missing somewhere. Let me see if I can get some data here on my other data. So while we can't show radar, I do want to bring you up to date on something that just came out, or it looks like has come out. It looks now that all of Bexar County is in the enhanced risk for severe weather. Based on the latest severe storm center issuance, we are now in the enhanced area for severe weather at this moment. We were previously in the slight. That is now changed to the enhanced. So again, the latest severe weather outlook from the Severe Storm Center in Norman, Oklahoma has said that has upgraded us to the enhanced risk for severe weather, and rightfully so, given the fact that we have received quite a bit of some hail reports and potentially some rotation and tornado radar indicated as well. I'm going to look at some over here, and we're waiting for radar to come in. Let's look at some local storm reports. So we had 1-inch hail just to the west of 1604. Looks like we had 1-inch hail again, and then on 410, as we get closer to the 90 area, looks like we had 1.5-inch hail. Looks like we had 1-inch hail right on 410 and 90 interchange, give or take. 1-inch hail as well. So it looks like this particular storm was dumping 1-inch hail. So definitely looks like it weakened as it continued to push off towards the east.
Can you pull up the SPC tornado threat?
Let me see if I can. And we're no luck on the radar, right?
Yeah, no, it looks like there's a data port problem on weather service side. Their website's not even updating now.
Okay, so it looks like a 10%. Looks like. I'm gonna look at get rid of the radar. Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of the warning.
Just so people know, that 10% is something that you see in. It's something that you'll see up north in Oklahoma during severe weather outbreak days. That's the kind of stuff that storm chasers look for. See it this far down, with this long and verifying, is unique.
Yeah, this is actually kind of early too. And we normally, I mean, we're entering the May. May is actually our more severe weather type scenario for tornadoes. So we're actually running a little bit early. But if you see this gray area, this tan area, which includes most of Bexar County, that's a good 10% probability of tornado activity that is possible. I'm going to try. Obviously, we're getting some data, so I'm going to close that off. I'm going to see if I can get any meso data and see where we are on any kind of. I'm just going to see if we can get any kind of meso. Looks like we're down on everything here.
Can you pull up your polys?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up.
Looks like they issued out a new severe for the whole county.
Yeah, and it's probably based on the one that's coming in from the east. So I'm sorry, from the west. So now essentially the entire county is under a severe thunderstorm warning. and it looks like anywhere between 1 1/4 to 1 3/4 inch hail is possible in the severe warned area. This severe thunderstorm warning includes the entire area of Bexar County, except for the extreme southern areas. Yes, we could. We're getting some questions here for hail. Yes, we could get up to 1 1/4 to 1 3/4 inch hail in some areas of Bexar County with its new severe thunderstorm that's come up. We're getting a report here on 1604 in Shane. I hope I'm saying Shanefield right. Calm winds, strong rain, but no more hail. Thank you very much for that report. Looks like we have power out at 1604 in Heber. Thank you for that report. If looks like Leon Valley has got some very heavy hail now. So thank you for that report. Again, apologies for the radar imagery not showing up. It looks like we broke the National Weather Service data server that provides that data for everybody. It looks like everybody was essentially looking at this potential severe weather that was coming in. I'm going to try and see if I get composite. That maybe I can get something from composite if possible. If not, um, doesn't look like I'm able to get composite as well. So it looks like we are down across the board. Sorry, guys. This is just the nature of the way things are coming in. So we're getting another report here that strong winds and heavy rain coming down in the northeast Loma Terrace area. Thank you very much for your report there as well, as we continue to see if we can get some data from the radar. Again, this is where we are in San Antonio, and look at all the severe weather warnings to our west. So this is not over, guys. Just because we are currently in the storm and we may not be seeing tornadoes at this moment, or we may not be experiencing some heavy rain or heavy hail, or at this point, um, based on the radar issue and based on the polygons issuance to our west, this looks like it's going to continue for a little while longer as these polygons are updated as these storms continue to push. Unfortunate that we cannot show you radar at this point, and it's just out of our control. So we're just going to depend on you guys to help us out. We got hail by UTSA. Potentially hail could be quarter size. Zeke, if you can, if it's safe to do so, if you can possibly go outside and see if it potentially is, and it's safe to do so, we don't want you to get hurt. Let us know so that we can go ahead and report that to the National Weather Service, if not using the EWX spotter hashtag. And it looks like we're getting a report here that there was penny size hail in the Neon Valley Alamo Ranch area. Thank you for that report. And again, I apologize. We are under the unfortunate circumstance of radar data not being available for our area. We can only right now go by polygon. I am trying to see if I can circumvent that data by downloading another radar source, but unfortunately it looks like that is also in effect or taking that precedence as well, that we're not getting data at that point either. So it looks like it's a National Weather Service issue. I doubt we're going to get any kind of, let me see if we're going to get any kind of radar, any kind of, nope. Looks like we're not going to get any kind of that either. Yeah, we're just pretty much down on that. And that may actually have caused my program to crash. We'll just see a second. Looks like there was penny size. Okay, good. We just want to make sure everybody's comments are taken care of. Again, we apologize. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you do that because I'm going to go ahead and restart this program on this side. So you got some data? Martin, you're muted, just to be safe. Let me see if I can unmute you there. All right. Martin, are you there? Close. There you go. You were muted there for a second.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, as I guess the program not getting any data stopped working for a bit. So go ahead and show that radar for a minute while I load this one up here.
Okay, so this is the latest radar coming in right now, showing that there's a hail core just finished moving over the UTSA area, and also between Leon Valley and Helotes, moving in towards the thing. This is severe warning. So it's over Chavano Park area, and we'll try to zoom in on there. So everything in the Peru district is getting either heavy rain or mixed up rain and hail going on there.
Okay, Martin, I'm back. I'm back with radar on my end, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. Okay.
Okay, going to you.
So here we are, guys. We're back with radar, and this is the latest scan. Don't pay attention to the loop that's showing the tornado warning. We are not under any tornado warning in San Antonio. Looks like we got our radar back. Thank God for that. So here we are. Current radar showing the severe thunderstorm warning, pretty much covering the entire area except Somerset, Elmendorf. You can see where the heavier activity is. Looks like downtown, Timberwood Park, Stone Oak area. I'm going to bring up, if I can without crashing everything, go ahead and bring down the actual hail. Looks like we're getting some pretty good hail around just south or near the Hollywood Park area. It looks like almost 1.5, almost 1.5 inch hail there. As you ride I-10 towards the Dominion and 1604, 1/2 inch hail there. I'm gonna actually zoom in and closer and get you guys zoomed in as close as we can get you. Shabano Park, if you're in that area, getting 1.5 inch hail potentially. This is radar indicated. Feel free to go outside and check, and if it's safe to do so, to verify. Put your cars in the garage as we speak. Again, if we're in the I-10 area, let me kind of go down here. So I-10 and let's see here, and 410 looks like 1/2 inch hail there. We got some pockets right north of the medical center of 1 to 1 1/10 inch hail there as well. And then on the south side, southwest side, again 1604 and Highway 90, looking at 1.5 inch hail as well in that general area. As these storms, I'm going to go ahead and put that in motion. So these particular storm and hail swaths are moving to the east northeast. So if you're in the general vicinity of Stone Oak, Hollywood Park, areas over here in the TPC Parkway area, you may be getting some hail that is up to potentially 1.5 inch hail for that general area. Again, if you're in the general area of 1604 and 281, Stone Oak area potentially, and areas right around here in the TPC area, you may get some of this hail that's currently falling around Shavano Park that's up to a 1.5, give or take, inch hail that is falling. So if you haven't put in your car, if you have not gotten away from your windows, now is a good time to do that, as this storm and this hail swath continues to push to the northeast, as this activity continues to push to that northeast. So again, anywhere from Leon Valley to currently just south of Hollywood Park, this activity is moving towards the northeast, towards Stone Oak, and again, the general area of northern 281 could be maybe hitting the eastern sides of Timberwood Park, but at the moment, this area right here between 1604, I-10, down through the medical center and Leon Valley is getting right now the most of that bad hail in that area at this time. So I'm going to go back to reflectivity to kind of bring that up, and you can kind of see how that is kind of pushing up towards the northeast. One of the things I have noticed, even though the storm is severe warned, towards the last couple of frames, you kind of see the storm kind of pushing more to the east-northeast, which is what we were seeing earlier with the hail. That is indicating that the storm apparently has joined the flow, the upper level flow of southwest to northeast, which is indicating to me that it's starting to weaken. So that is good news in terms of just the overall threat of the severe weather for this particular storm. It is no longer moving towards the right as it was earlier, or towards the east. It now appears to be moving towards a northeast trajectory, which is leading us to believe, or me to believe, that the storm is starting to weaken from its severe characteristics. However, just to be safe, there is still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the Bexar County area at this time. The next thing we need to look at, this is a little brother we were looking at earlier. Looks like that has weakened. This is our next guy to look at. Let's see if we put it in motion. This guy apparently is looking like it's moving a little bit to the east northeast. We're going to have to keep an eye on it, as that particular storm cell could affect the central and southern areas of San Antonio with a potentially 1 3/4 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. At the moment, it looks like we're just getting some pretty good heavy rain at this point, with some potential 1 inch hail and 1.5 inch hail, now moving towards the 281 and 1604 area. I'm actually going to go and really get nitty gritty, guys. So if you really want to see how nitty gritty we can get, let's get into it. So let's see if we can bring up the hails thing again, and let's see if we can get that going. Hopefully we didn't lose radar again. And there it is. So I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty, and I'm going to bring up streets. So here we go. As we get close to the northern part of the storm. So I'm going to bring up street. So if you're on Hardy Oak Boulevard, on the Stone Oak area, you could be seeing some small hail. As you go down Stone Oak Parkway, you could be seeing some moderate hail to maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. The more Blanco Road and looks like Blanco Road and Hebner, just north of there, you could be seeing maybe 1 inch hail coming in through there, or a little bit more. If you're in state 1604, obviously, and in the areas of Cost Timber and Falling Brook and those kind of streets in that general neighborhood, you could be seeing 1 to 1 and above, maybe 1 to 1.5 inch hail. Shavano Park, again, if you happen to be on Northwest Military Highway, again to Rogers Wood, all the way down to Indian Shavano Woods, Lock Hill Selma Road, all this area in this general area is between 1 and 1.5 inch hail currently indicated by radar. If you're over here by Hill Country Village in Hollywood Park, you're getting some smaller hail, and you're looking at, this is right west of 281, Sterling Browning Road, Tower Drive, any general area, Walker Ranch. If you're on Wallersbach Parkway, you're starting off. You happen to be going west on that, you're going to start off with some very small hail and work your way up towards potentially larger hail as you get closer to Blanco and as you get closer to Northwest Military Highway. Down towards the bottom here, near just southwest of Castle Hills, if you happen to be just north of Jackson Keller Road and around Blanco Road here, you got a pretty good 1 inch potential hail there. This is all radar indicated. If you're by Medical Center, you're also seeing some maybe 8/10 to 1 inch hail. Right at 8, I'm not saying 8/10, it's 8/10, yes. 8/10 to 1 inch hail here by the Medical Drive. And then down here towards the bottom, just north, sorry guys, whoever lives on Highway 90 and north of Highway 90 near 410, we're looking at now, it looks like 2 inch hail potential here by Mossy Creek, and looks like Cry Trail. Looks like you may be getting some pretty good hail in that general area. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the street signs.
Okay,
And go ahead and go and probe. Go ahead, sir.
Let me go ahead and jump in, and
Go ahead and do your thing.
I'm gonna start sharing some stuff of
Go
why
ahead.
we are concerned, because you should be able to see my map. Can you see it?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, this is the weather forecast. So the little blob in the center is right over San Antonio, which is what we're seeing right now.
Correct.
If I advance the HRR weather model, you will see something interesting. It'll move out, and then in a few hours, we're going to be at this again. We're going to be going around this around 2 in the morning.
Round two. Yeah.
2 to 3 in the morning, we'll have another round of hail. Hopefully, with the loss of heating, it won't be tornadoes, but we can check that right now. But as you can see, we will be dealing with this around 2 to 3 in the morning. Let me pull up my favorite thing in the HRR to see if we're going to get another round. And so what you're seeing is what's called an updraft helicity, basically where the big hailstorms or tornadoes can possibly go through. So you can see it's trying to take that one cell and then it brings the other one in. So there's a chance that it might do something. It might be another big hailer later tonight. So
thank you. And it almost looks like the second one almost wants to go a little bit further south, which is a good thing if it does. But it almost looks, I may be wrong, but just from what I can see, I may be wrong, but and maybe I'm just hoping that it really does go further south. We don't want any more hail. But it's interesting to know that this is not necessarily once we're done with it, that's it. Looks like we are due for another one after, and it basically is showing up here on radar that we do have another cell there. And actually, whenever you're done, come back to me and just so we can show them radar and show that
Okay.
there's additional activity just to our west as well that continues to develop. So the lucky part of it is that right now those particular cells are not severe warned. So that's the great part. But again, good to know that if that particular model is correct, we look like we may be getting another round of potential severe weather, including hail, again. And just FYI, earlier we were saying there was potential hail at 1604 Huebner. It is confirmed that there is hail on 1604 and Huebner. So again, looks like now we're looking at more of a hail threat across most of Bexar County in this particular area right here. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stay away. I'm going to stay away from that and just go ahead and bring up MEH and just load up that new data. So let it load up a little bit here, waiting for the new scan to come up, and just bring up that data one more time and see where the hail is currently falling. There it is. And you can see a big bullseye now of almost 2-inch hail just south of Hollywood Park. Again, if you're in Hollywood Park, Hill Country Village, Savannah Park, 1604, just north of that, there's this big blob of 1.5 to almost, yeah, it looks like just 1.5, enough to damage your car and maybe potentially crack some windows. You have a pretty good hail core right in there. And as we move closer to the areas to the north, Stone Oak and areas even towards potentially Timberwood Park, you may be starting to see some hail there as well. Right now, it looks to be sub-severe. Let's go ahead and put this in motion. And you can kind of see as we get more data, as this becomes loaded, you can see it's taking an east-northeast direction. So if you're in the areas of right here, if you're in the areas of Stone Oak in this area towards the 281 corridor, be aware that you have between 1 inch and almost 2-inch hail that radar is indicating around that area, moving towards that potential location. Again, Hollywood Park, Hill Country Village, Shavano Park, you're under that blob. Park your vehicles. If you haven't done so now, park your vehicles now. You don't want any dings on your vehicles. And again, it looks like the area to our south that had some pretty good hail before has died down. So it looks like a pretty good swath right in here is getting some pretty good hail as we speak. If you're in this area and happen to hear or see any kind of that hail, feel free to comment so that we can go ahead and verify that on here so that our viewers are aware of that as well, that this is being verified. So right now it has become more of a heavy rain and hail threat for this area as this particular severe storm continues to push now more to the east-northeast. The fact that it's showing more of an east-northeast movement has indicated to me that most of the severe characteristics have, for the most part, and I'm talking the more severe ones, which is the damaging wind and the tornadic activity, has for the most part settled down. What we're now having to deal with is the hail that is potentially being dropped. And again, given how this is potentially coming from the area where we had that rotation, you may have remembered Martin mentioning that all that hail was probably lofted in the upper atmosphere and now is basically coming down because the storm is starting to weaken and the updrafts are starting to weaken. This is potentially the aftermath of that potential tornadic activity that we saw to our southwest. And now that all that hail that was up there is now falling. So this could very well explain why all of a sudden we're getting pretty good hail swath right around the Hollywood Park area. If you don't mind, I'm gonna everybody cross your fingers. I'm gonna see if I can do a hail swath and turn off this radar real quick and just kind of see where this hail swath is coming from the last hour. And you can kind of see how that occurred, where we had a real big tornadic circulation over here. And remember, right when we were saying about west of Lackland, that was some pretty good circulation. Now, if you kind of we were saying it was moving kind of to the northeast, and if you see the hail swath that we're seeing here, you can see that's the track it took, or the track it's taken. So imagine all that rotation, all that updraft, lofting all that hail up in the air, in the atmosphere. And as the storm continues to weaken and it moves to the east northeast, you're starting to see these pockets of hail that are coming down, even though the actual rotation and tornado and was over here to the southeast. So that's how that works in terms of severe dynamics or severe weather dynamics. So just because the tornado threat is over and just because potentially high winds are over, the lasting effects are still being felt because now we're seeing all that lofted hail falling to the ground. So this is a pretty good hail map swath showing how something that was way over here in Castroville is starting to affect areas of Leon Valley, Hollywood Park, Stone Oak, and even probably even northern areas of 281. So I'm going to bring back the actual uh, weather map showing the hail. And now, for those of you in the Castle Hills, Leon Valley area, Medical Center, Balcones Heights, you're under a flash flood warning now in effect until 12:15 in the morning. And if you guys don't mind, let's go ahead and go into bearflood.org. This is the go-to place, bearcounty.org. You can start seeing some of the areas around the Bear County area that are showing red. So we have Baxtershire and Calubra Creek, Contour Drive, Nashville. Any of these roads ring a bell for you? Those areas are closed or closed due to high water. So again, if you're in these areas, hopefully you're not driving out and walking around. But if you are in these general areas, watch out that these roads have been closed due to high water. And if you're out traveling, you come across a flooded roadway, especially now at night, do not cross that road. Turn around, don't drown. While we're here, just look at the outages. Now 50 of that is being reported, 50 outage, 10,000, over 10,000 customers affected. So if you're in these general areas right in here, you have some outages that are being reported in that area. If you are without power, I know there's a number, and I'm trying to see maybe Mark can help me out to get that number. Maybe we could scroll it on the bottom. If you happen to be on your phone maybe and need some help to report that, I mean, I guess we can go here and get the customer outage number. Go ahead and call 210-353-HELP and see if we can go ahead and get you the help you need right here. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll that in a bit. So let's go back to Bear Flood. So again, if you're in these general areas or planning to travel, these roads are currently closed due to high water. Now, I am hearing heavy rain in my general area, no doubt because of the rain that's falling. And I think we're getting hail as well, as I heard one of them just hit the window. So again, flash flood warning in effect till 12:15 for areas in green, which includes Shavano Park, Castle Hills, Medical Center, Balcones Heights, Leon Valley, just north. Finally, looks like Lackland's getting a break, but no issues for Lackland Air Force Base in terms of the flash flood warning. We still remain under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10 p.m. for the areas outlined in red, which now includes St. Hedwig, and pretty much the northern areas of Bear County, which is now Timberwood Park. Again, this hail core continues to push off to the northeast. I'm going to put that in motion again. I'm going to turn off the flash flood warning and severe thunderstorm warning so we just can kind of see how this hail core continues to push off to the east northeast. Again, if you see, if you're in the Hollywood Park area, Stone Oak area, and now the TPC area, TPC Park area on 281, heading towards north, towards maybe eastern side of Timberwood Park, you're going to start to see some pretty good potential hail fall from this hail core that remains from the severe thunderstorm that was here earlier. that is potentially dying. Let's go ahead and get some measurements again. I am close to this area right in here. So we're getting 1 to 1.5 inch hail. Stone oak, 1 to almost 1.5 inch hail. So just enough to be damaging to your car. And if the hail happens to hit at a certain direction on your window, outside or on your house windows, you may also potentially get a crack. But even though the red areas are showing 1 to 1.5, we're still seeing up to almost 1 on the surrounding areas here as well. So again, definitely some hail that can damage some cars or ding them, and potentially cause some issues with some windshields out there as well. I'm going to put this in motion one more time. So again, looks like Hill Country Village, you're kind of in the lower end of the hail area. Hollywood Park, it's starting to leave your area, though this area down here may bring that to your point. So Stone Oak, you're probably in the midst of it. And I already heard some hail hit my window out just outside. So if you're in this general area, just protect your vehicles and stay away from windows. Looks like that is the only major issue we have with this particular storm. And again, we are still under that severe thunderstorm warning until 10, I believe. Yep, 10 o'clock. So we got another 36 minutes. So I'm going to bring up reflectivity. And let's see if I can bring up reflectivity just to see what this guy down here is going to do. So it looks like during the last couple of frames, it's starting to pick up on the east-northeast direction as well. So it looks like round 2 is on our way. So we'll probably see a severe thunderstorm warning again from some areas of Bexar County, mostly probably the southern air, which would be more like Somerset, potentially Elmendorf, as this particular cell here continues to move to the northeast, or sorry, east-northeast potentially. Looks like northeast really, but looks more like east-northeast. May contain up to 1.5 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Let me look at velocity real quick. And all right, if we're on the 1604, 281, actually just to the east of that, you may be seeing some pretty good winds real quick. Sorry, guys, I just decided to see that this came up. You may be seeing some pretty good winds north of Windcrest, east of Hollywood Park, between 410 and 1604. This area right here may be seeing some pretty gusty winds. So if you're in this general area, watch out that you may be seeing some pretty gusty winds around that point, and just also north of 1604 on 281. You could be seeing some pretty hefty winds there as well. And then over here, could see some pretty good winds on this storm that may affect the southern areas of Bexar County. But this guy right here is now more of a concern in regards to some pretty good winds. We're getting a report now that 78228 area has lost power. So just be aware of that. So we're getting another report that severe storm backs out of the airport area, insane wind as well. So this is generally the area we're talking about right in here where we're seeing those big winds. So here's 410, here's 281. The airport's right in here. It's just to the northeast of that. We're seeing some pretty good winds there. So again, if you're in that area, just be aware that we're getting some pretty good winds in that general vicinity, most likely from the dying storm's downdraft, and which is also part of the reason why you're getting all that hail that's falling as well. I'm going to bring back reflectivity, and you can definitely see just how the storm continues to essentially die, but definitely causing some issues with some winds and some hail as well. I'm going to put it in motion, and you can definitely see that it's moving to the east-northeast. Go ahead, Martin.
Check that cell to the southwest. It looks like it's showing a hail spike.
Southwest. Yep, it is right in here. Thank you very much. So we got a hailer. Again, when you see this kind of signature on radar, and the way you can kind of see how that works is our radar is right here. And if you draw a line towards the storm, and right in here, you see how it got some pinks in there. That usually means some pretty good hail. And because of the fact that the radar beam is bouncing off that hail, it sometimes produces this little artifact called a hail spike. And that's usually indicative of some pretty good hail falling. So just to be safe, let's go ahead and analyze this storm for a second. And let's go ahead and give it our mean estimated hail size for this storm here. And let's see what kind of hail size we're getting on this guy. And see if we can get this guy to come up, hopefully. And we're getting about this is radar indicated though, so just be aware of that. So almost 3-inch hail falling from this particular cell, which is probably why we're getting that hail spike from this cell. This cell is moving essentially towards this direction, east-northeast. So southern areas of Bexar County may get affected as this continues to move to the northeast. Let me see if I can get you a speed on that. Let me get tracks here. And this storm is moving at approximately 40 miles an hour to the east, give or take east-northeast. So at this point, Somerset may get affected, but we'll keep an eye on the intensity. If anything, right now, this is becoming a hailer. We got some additional storms. These are not severe, warned, but they are some storms that the radar or the software is detecting and showing where the general potential locations are. Again, the major issue we're having here is just this lot of heavy rain, and let's see how much rain we're actually getting. Precipitation rate. Let's see what we can get. Don't freak out. That's just some data that's coming in. And now that we're loaded, this is the rainfall rate. How much rain and potential, even some of the hail that may be falling with this rain. And we're getting some pretty good rainfall rate. This is the rate per hour around this general area. Now, some of this could be mistaken by the hail that's falling in this area. So this area may essentially not be getting that much rain, but just know that this area here is getting at least some very heavy rain and or hail with that. How much rain has generally fallen? So we know we have a drought in place. So we've got, according to radar, this is a 3-hour quantitative precipitation estimate showing that potentially up to 2 inches of rain have fallen on the western areas of Bexar County in the purple. Darker red's almost 2 inches. So we're getting some pretty good rain, believe it or not, out of these storms as they continue to push up to the east-northeast. Martin, sounds like you want to say something or just kind of hanging out? Just want to make sure I'm not leaving you out of something here. But again, we're watching this particular storm as it continues to push to the east-northeast, potentially jumping up to 1.5, just under 1.5-inch hail. But again, anybody in this general area, be aware that if your car is outside, it's probably getting a little dinged. So just be aware of that. We're also watching this guy down here that may be pushing towards the east-north.
On the north-south. Bring up the rotation on the north-south.
And there you go. There you go.
Tornado warning.
Yeah, tornado warning just now in effect for this area here. And it looks like I lost something here, guys. Bear with me. So let's go here. There we go. There we go. So this is a new tornado warning that has just been issued for the areas just east of Hollywood Park, Windcrest, Converse, you're in that tornado warning. Universal City, you're in that tornado warning. Kirby, you're not in that tornado warning. Garden Ridge, you are. I know these are out of our jurisdictions, but we're going to go ahead and mention them. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the base velocity so we can kind of see. And actually, I'm going to bring up the storm velocity better.
That covers Randolph. Anyone around the Randolph area?
Randolph area.
Anyone?
So right in this area, right in here, is where your tornado warning is. I mean, where your tornado circulation is. So if you're in this Live Oak, you're in that general area. And I thought I had Randolph in here. So just north, actually, looks like just northwest of Randolph. But you're by Selma, Live Oak, generally in this general area, right here.
I know we had somebody from Universal City. If you're hearing us, take shelter now. Take shelter now. They've issued it for your area. Well, it looks like it's cycled back.
So You're in this general area right now, which is Live Oak. Windcrest is just to your north, but you're under that you're under that tornado warning. Converse, the rotation and the potential severe tornado signature is to your north. However, you are in the tornado warning. Universal City, the rotation is to your northwest. That is still, you're under that tornado warning. Cibolo, and so forth. Garden Ridge, you look like you're in the path of the potential rotation to your south. Um, uh, we normally don't cover areas outside of Bexar County, but this is a tornado warning, so we're going to probably follow it until it reaches maybe potentially up to New Braunfels. So if you're in the Garden Ridge area, please, if you're in that area, you have a tornado warning and potentially rotation right to your southwest. So if you're in this general area, right on, basically riding I-35, just passing to the northeast of 1604, this general area right here, Garden Ridge especially, you're under that potential tornado rotation that's being indicated by radar. I'm going to go ahead and stop radar for a second so you can kind of see it right here. Universal City, you're pretty much okay. You may see some residual winds, but again, you should be okay. Randolph, again, you should be okay. You're to the southeast of the rotation. Cibolo, again, you're to the southeast, and it's moving towards the direction of east-northeast. Marion, you're okay on this way. Essentially, riding I-35 towards essentially New Braunfels. Garden Ridge right now seems to be the area that could be affected. If you're in Garden Ridge, or if you know someone in Garden Ridge, let them know that there's a potential tornado that's been radar indicated heading their way. And we'll continue to watch. What's interesting is that was the area of winds that we were seeing just north of the airport earlier. So apparently some rotation has occurred, and that caused this potential radar indicated tornado to hit. Again, this tornado warning is in part of Bexar County, but the actual rotation is outside of Bexar County. We are Bexar County severe weather. However, this is a potentially life-threatening situation. We're going to cover outside our county boundary. So if you're in Garden Ridge, you need to take shelter now. Go to the lowest floor on your home, away from exterior walls and windows. Bring covers, bring pillows, bring comforters, and go to the most interior room, like a closet or a bathroom inside your home, for this potential radar indicated tornado that's heading towards you right now. Garden Ridge, take cover now. North Cliff, take cover now. So if you're in these areas right now, take cover, as this tornado that's radar indicated is generally heading in your direction. If you're on I-35 north near Selma, Live Oak, if you're in I-35, the tornado potential is to your west. However, there is a tornado warning for your general area. Again, Garden Ridge and North Cliff, take cover now. There is a tornado warned radar indicated cell right here that is in your general direction. I'm going to actually get in here and see if I can see any streets. I'm not seeing anything because that is not my county. So again, if you're in this general area, please take shelter now for this tornado warning and the potential of 1-inch hail as well, but that's obviously the least of your worries. Take shelter now for this tornado that's radar indicated just south of Garden Ridge. I'm going to actually bring it in close, and I'm actually going to see if we can see how it's evolved over time. So there it is right here. You can see how it just went ahead and started off just north of the airport and then just continues to go to the east-northeast. So again, that crazy wind, someone mentioned crazy wind by the airport earlier. That was essentially the tornadic, potentially tornadic system that was starting to develop and moving towards the east-northeast. So again, Garden Ridge, take cover. You should be potentially listening to me, but in a safe shelter, safe location at this time. Bexar County, you're technically under the extreme northeastern areas are under this tornado warning, But Windcrest, Converse, even though you're under that tornado warning, you're fine. There is not a tornado for this particular storm here. You're fine. Live Oak, you're fine. The actual rotation is to your northeast. Universal City, the rotation is to your north. So anywhere in this area, you should be okay. It's Garden Ridge that we're trying to look at. So if you're in the Kitty Hawk Field, Ultralight Park, or in that general area, if that rings a bell, take cover now. Um, so again, if you happen to be in those areas, North Cliff, Garden Ridge, Kitty Hawk Field, Ultralight Park, those general areas sound familiar, take cover now for this tornado warning and this tornado that is radar indicated in this general area right in here. For Bexar County, going to go ahead and go back to us for now. The storm that we had earlier that was dumping all that hail is starting to leave the area. Here's the border right here, Bexar County. However, we have this other storm that now we have a severe thunderstorm warning just issued for this area right here that includes downtown San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base. This starting to sound familiar. Get used to it. This
Bring
is
on
another
the CCs on that northern storm. It's
on
look,
the
it
yeah,
radar.
I'll put that in. We just got a severe thunderstorm warning real quick for the southern area and Somerset. So if you guys down here, we have a potential tornado possible with this storm as well, and this is why got an appendage. So keep an eye on this. We'll come to that in a second. So this is our next threat for the central southern areas of San Antonio with this storm right here that could potentially contain a tornado. And this is the area we're talking about right in here. And actually bring the storm relative velocity and see if we can bring that up. This area right in here is what we're looking at for the potential rotation that we're seeing. It is not tornado warned yet, but it's showing potentially a tornado. And this is moving towards the east-northeast, towards Somerset, central downtown San Antonio, and areas to the west of Elmendorf and China Grove. Lackland Air Force Base, you're included. So I'm going to bring that in. Now, back to the tornado warnings here. We're going to go CC, you said. You're talking about this right here? It looks like that's a debris ball.
Yeah, there's a debris ball on radar.
So what happens is, as we mentioned before, this is a correlation coefficient, and essentially is saying anything that's almost 100% or red is what radar says, yeah, it's rain or it's any kind of meteorological type of phenomenon. Anything that's blue or anything that's different color is saying that is not precipitation. So anytime you have a potential tornado that's being alerted to, and you see kind of blue or any kind of greens and blues surrounding that, that may mean that the tornado or the rotation may be lifting some debris. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a house or a building. It's just lifting debris that could be, which is what the radar is seeing with these kind of blue and green colors around the Garden Ridge area and this area over here. So again, it's not necessarily saying that houses are being destroyed. It could be, but it's just saying that there's something out there that the radar is seeing that's different than the wind, than the area that of rain or that it identifies as meteorological. So again, this could definitely be some debris, some trees, some potentially, hopefully, billboards. I mean, hopefully it's not a house, but again, it is seeing some potentially, and we call that a debris ball. It looks like that tornado warning has been shortened up a little bit and no longer includes Bexar County. However, again, if you're in the Garden Ridge and northward area, let me go back to storm relative and bring this up again. If you're right in this general area, God, it looks like it's going straight to New Braunfels. New Braunfels, you might want to just be on the heads up. If you're in the area of or near New Braunfels, you might want to just be on the heads up that there's a potential tornado heading towards, God, it looks like it's heading right towards New Braunfels. So if you guys have people or friends or family in New Braunfels, you might want to give them a heads up that a potential tornado that's been radar indicated is headed towards the New Braunfels area. And potentially even the National Weather Service, based on this, it may actually skirt them. Let's hope not. Let's hope that does not happen. So let's go down to our southern storm that we're keeping an eye on. Let's go back to reflectivity. It looks like it's grown in size. The appendage here is what I'm looking at. And the reason I'm looking at is that we're seeing what looks like an inflow going in this way, and the outflow is going in this way, and we're starting to potentially see a rotation. I'm going to do a storm relative on this one, and not seeing any rotation that is attracting my attention at this point. However, it's something that we're just going to continue to watch since it does show that inflow going into the storm. Let's go back to reflectivity. Let's keep an eye on this. This is the part we're looking at potentially for tornado. But again, if you're in the central areas of downtown and Lackland and just Somerset and just this basic southwest corner of Bexar County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 tonight. So we're going to continue to watch this storm as it continues to move forward. The other severe thunderstorm warning that we had previously looks like it's still here. However, if you're west of 281, essentially you're out of the woods. Not to worry about any severe thunderstorm warning, even though there's a polygon here. If you're northeast of Hollywood Park and just to the edge near Garden Ridge, definitely under a severe thunderstorm warning for this area. This is not a severe warned storm. However, Elotes, Dominion, Gray Forest, you may see some additional heavy rain move in. I'm going to put this in motion just to ensure that I'm not just making this up as I go. So actually could miss Elotes, be more northward. So just north of Dominion towards Fair Oaks Ranch could see this particular cell. This is not severe warned. This looks to be more just a strong cell with some heavy rain. The next issue that we're going to focus on is, again, this storm down here that is going to be moving towards the south areas or southwest areas of Bexar County. Again, Lackland, San Antonio proper, downtown, and Somerset. And just, again, these areas right on this general area. I'm going to just highlight it for you right here. Anybody living in this general area in Bexar County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, okay? And again, there's a tornado possible with that particular cell. I keep forgetting I can draw on screens. So again, we have this other tornado. Again, this is away from Bexar County. This does not include Bexar County. However, it is going towards the New Braunfels area. If you happen to have friends or relatives in the New Braunfels area, be aware that this potential tornado that's radar indicated is headed towards that area. So I know the color is going to be a little weird at first as it's loading up, but here it is. It looks like potentially it may be weakening a little bit, hopefully. But here it is, right here, the rotation we're talking about, and here's New Braunfels. So again, if you have anybody in or near the New Braunfels area, there's a tornado warning for this particular cell that's moving towards the New Braunfels area and kind of close to our National Weather Service people. So just be aware of that. We continue to watch this storm down here. It looked like at first it did have pretty good little, trying to do a little couplet here, but it looks like as it continues to move towards the east-northeast, that rotation has weakened. Again, as we've seen with these storms, as they continue to move, they pulse and then they then produce something and then they pulse down and die and then they come back and repulse. So just because we're not seeing a good rotation in this storm here does not mean that that storm cannot produce one as it continues to move towards the east-northeast towards Bexar County. Let me bring up reflectivity so we can see that. And let me also look down over here. Looks like these storms over here are going to may sideswipe us, but they're still way over here by Del Rio and Rock Springs, so we're not going to worry too much on that. At this point, it looks like right here is what we need to worry about. This storm is exiting as we speak, and no tornado warning for our area, but we still have this lingering thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm warning to our north, and now we have this other severe thunderstorm warning and cell that's moving in from the southwest to the east-northeast, bringing up potentially 1.5-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Just to be safe, I should have done that while at velocity. Not seeing too much wind with this storm, although down here where the rotation was happening, Could be seeing some gusty winds up in the atmosphere. We'll continue to watch. Looks like this will probably be more potentially a hailer. Let me see if we are actually getting any hail out of this storm as we move in closer to it. Let's see if we can get that storm to show up. So if it's anywhere near Divine, yeah, here's the hail. So it looks like it's dumping about, again, this is radar indicated. It looks like it's dumping about 3-inch hail at the middle of the actual core, and surrounding could be 1 inch to almost an inch. And this is just west of the Divine let me look here, just west of the Divine. This is moving towards the east northeast though. So Natalia, looks like you're just going to get potentially some small to medium, potentially medium size, up to 1-inch hail. Should this storm continue to move, let's see, let's put it in motion. Let's see if we can get this to go. So Natalia, if you're in the Divine Natalia area, you could potentially see some pretty good hail arrive as that particular cell continues to move to the east northeast. So let's see, we're getting a question here. I'm not sure I understand your question, Mr. Nall. If you could just kind of verify again. You're looking at I-30. Are you asking about the tornado? Please just let us know and we'll answer it for you. Okay, so other than the northern tornado warning has now left the Bexar County area, so we're not going to worry about this cell in general, although we are concerned, obviously, for this cell here that's moving towards New Braunfels. What we are now concerned about is this cell here that's moving to the east-northeast that could affect the southern and southwestern areas of Bexar County. So again, we need to make sure that this is our next round, and this looks to be more of a hailer than a wind producer. At this point, it does look like it had a potential, not a hook, but a potential appendage that we just need to keep an eye on, and could contain, could eventually develop a tornado. So we're not confirming that a tornado has been observed. We are confirming that it's radar indicated and that the correlation coefficient of the radar did show us some potential debris. But I cannot say that it is a confirmed tornado other than the fact that it's just radar indicated at this time. Again, it continues to move towards the New Braunfels area. I would treat it, regardless whether it's confirmed or not, as just a tornado and seek shelter in your lowest area of your house, and surrounded in the most interior room in your home, surrounded by as many walls as possible from the outside, with towels and comforters and pillows and everything else to protect yourself should that tornado or that rotation move over your area as we speak. Is now the tornadic circulation, just FYI updating, is now between Garden Ridge and New Braunfels. Again, if you happen to be in that area, take cover now. If you have friends or family that live in that area, please advise them, call them up, wake them up, whatever it is, to let them know that there is a potential tornado radar indicated moving towards the New Braunfels area as we speak. Bexar County, except for this southern area right here, when we're waiting for this cell here and this suspicious looking appendage to move to the east northwest, the rest of Bexar County is not under any severe thunderstorm warning or any warning in general. There is a pretty decent strong cell right here to the west of Great Forest, but at the moment, the southwest area is what we're looking at. Martin, go ahead.
If you're in Converse, Live Oak, Universal City on the western side, you are in the clear. It is way north of you, so you're probably just getting hit by a bunch of wind, maybe an occasional hailstone right now. So it's the circulation is north of 35. So if you're, I saw someone asking about Converse. It's way past there now. So the latest updates on the alert on the warnings have gotten rid of that. So I think only like a tiny part of it's actually in the county, in Bexar County. Everything else is north and gone from there.
Okay, thanks, Martin. So again, As we look at the map, the area of concern now is from central San Antonio downtown towards the west, towards Lacoste, down to around Somerset, and just west of Elmendorf. If you're just watching my mouse as it circles, this storm here is what we're looking at that may contain a potential tornado. It has potentially 1 3/4 inch hail and could bring up to 70-mile-an-hour winds. Looking at the velocity, and actually, let me look at the down to the gusts. Let's see what we're looking at here. I mean, we could see some potentially good winds. Based on what I'm seeing on the down gust potential. But on the velocity side, I'm not just seeing any major numbers that are making me think that that's really going to happen. We could see some gusty winds, no less, but it looks like this is going to be more of a hailer at the moment. So we're going to continue to watch this as we continue to uh, do our severe coverage, and I need a quick break. So just wait while I go ahead and take a sip of water. I'm going to let this run for a little bit, and I'll be right back. Thanks.
Hello and good evening. This is Bear County Severe Weather with continuing coverage. Time is 9:53 p.m. on April 28th. We will be doing a little bit of Spanish. Buenas noches, hermanos y hermanas. Estamos hablando aquí. Tenemos tiempos y vientos severos que están afectando las áreas de San Antonio. Ahorita, lo que acaba de pasar en alertas anteriormente de tornados no pegaron a San Antonio. Vimos unos que estaban pasando a mero, otro alerta para un tornado que estaba pasando para Nuevo Braunfels, New Braunfels. No está afectando las áreas de Bexar County ahorita. Los pueden oír. Estamos viendo un tempestad severa que está trayendo vientos fuertes y también granizo de hasta de baseball size que está viniendo, puede afectar las áreas cerca del Toyota Plant al momento y áreas del sur de San Antonio con granizo al momento, es lo que estamos viendo. Estamos viendo, se acaba de cambiar, lo están viendo en lo que se está acercando. Si tienen personas que están viajando por el 35, tengan cuidados. Vamos a tratar de hacerlo en inglés y en español cuando se necesite, pero a veces no se puede. Okay, and we're back to English. As you can see there, we can see the cell generally moving in. Now it's moving in with the flow, which is a good thing because it lets us know that the storm is not going to be that strong or that crazy because it's caught in the flow. But just as we saw earlier with the other cell that going up to New Braunfels, we have to be careful because it can cycle quickly, and the environment is still ripe for tornadoes. Even though we've had all these strong storms come through, since they've been going further north, they haven't tapped into the energy to the south. So we gotta keep an eye out and be ready for that.
Thank you, Martin. I appreciate you, and thank you for letting us giving me a little break just to get some information here from our watchers. Thank you so much for your reports. Again, we depend on your eyewitness reports that you can give us so that we can definitely let you all know who may have family or friends in the areas affected. So it looks like some large hail and high winds off 46 West in New Braunfels. Again, Mr. Andy Weirdman, thank you very much for that report. We appreciate it. That is all obviously due to this storm that is tornado warned that is headed right towards New Braunfels. Again, we're not in the jurisdiction of New Braunfels. However, because it is a tornado warned storm, we are kind of keeping an eye on it. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and bring in the storm just to give you an update on where the circulation looks to be. Because it's getting close to the radar, it's kind of getting a little too low, but it looks like right in here, just to the west of New Braunfels, is where that circulation is. And you can see how the National Weather Service has really begun to tighten in on that tornado warning. So it basically includes the city of New Braunfels. If you're in the city of New Braunfels or around the area near the city of New Braunfels, be aware you're under a tornado warn. warning until, and let me bring that up, until 10 p.m. That may expire. However, I doubt it, considering that circulation continues. We'll keep an eye on that for you as that storm continues to head off to that east northeast. We're also watching this guy that may be producing a sliver of rotation to the southwest of Ware County, moving to the east northeast. Looks like right now that seems to be more of a hailer. I'm going to bring down the brief activity again. And you can see how that storm continues to move and march forward towards the east northeast. And I'm going to bring up some times here based on the storm location. It's where it is. Obviously, this is just a general idea of where the storm's going to be. But if you're in by Natalia, Little, and Somerset, anywhere between 10:08, 10:15, and 10:28, respectively, is when the storm could potentially affect your area. Given the fact that some of the area to the north could also be affected by some lighter rains and so forth. But the general gist of the storm, which is right in here, seems to be heading in the direction of these areas. So again, be mindful that we have a severe thunderstorm warning for this general area right in here for mostly up to, now it looks like almost 2-inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds potential. But it looks like, based on what we've seen before, that hail seems to be more of an issue. So again, if you happen to be in the area of Lacoste, I know that's outside our range, but Somerset, I'm going to bring it in just a tad. Lackland, it looks like you're in it again. Central San Antonio, just to the northeast of you, but not including Kirby. Down to the south, right in 37, and then back towards Somerset, right in 1604. You're in that severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 for this cell that's starting to push in some of the counties. So if you're in this area right to the west, you're starting to feel some of the moderate to heavy rains, and pretty soon you'll start probably seeing some hail. Go ahead, Martin.
The Weather Service is starting to notice circulation on that cell that you were on right now. The
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
So
that's the
that,
one.
yeah, so it's circulation is around Divine right now. So it may start generally tracking north towards the south side.
Okay, so this is the area right in here that we've been kind of watching. We're gonna watch that the fact that this could potentially have a rotation to it. The National Weather Service is also watching it. I'm gonna do what I did earlier, and I'm gonna bring up just for fun the storm relative to helicity. It is showing most of the bad stuff to our west over here by Bracketville. And even though it's not showing much to our area, you can still see that we still have these spin ups, as we call them. So just because the storm relative helicity is not so high around Bexar County compared to, let's say, over here by Bracketville, that doesn't mean we can't get tornadoes. And that's what we're seeing now, is that we're getting these spin ups as the atmosphere is just churned up with just a lot of shear. So again, just because we're not seeing that much potential for tornadoes doesn't mean we can't get any. So I just wanted to check that. Let's go back to radar again, and let's check store. Now let's go to reflectivity and watch this as it continues to move to the east northeast. And there it is right there. Look behind. We have some additional storms to our west. And again, some more additionally in the mountains in the areas of Mexico. But those are currently non-severe. And so we're going to continue to look at this guy right here. This is the guy that is our next threat for the Bexar County area. Go ahead, Martin.
Can you go ahead and bring up the rain totals to see what's falling right now so far?
Sure. So we're going to go to MRMS, and we're going to do a 3-hour QPT. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, guys. So let that load for a second, or it's already loaded. I'm going to try to do a reload of 6 hours then. Hang on, it's going to load a little bit. And so let's see what we got. It doesn't look right. Let me just do another. Let me do another one just to be safe. I guess that's the latest one. So it looks like the latest one is still showing 2 inches on the west side. I think we're still waiting. Let me do the 1 hour QPE. See if I can get some more. So here's the latest. This is the 1 hour. So it looks like we got some pretty good rains around the northern areas as well, almost 2 inches, just east of Stone Oak on the northern side, north of 1604. And as we get closer to Hollywood Park, Stone Oak, you get some good rain too. Looks like the west side, at least the 1 hour, showing that most of the rain for the last hour was really heavy from Leon Valley towards the Timberwood Park area. Now, keep in mind that some of this could be hail as well, that the radar is detecting as potential rain and rain totals. So I'm not going to go 100% saying, yep, it's 2 inches of rain that fell right northeast of Hollywood Park. I think some of the hail may have contaminated some of this data. But in the end, whatever rain we can get without the severe weather, we'll take it. But at this moment, it's looking like we're getting some pretty good rains just in general. So that's a good thing to have given our current drought situation and so forth. So I'm going to bring back the radar for reflectivity, and I'm just pushing this computer crazy as it's trying to figure out what I'm trying to do here. Um, so we're going to bring up reflectivity again to see what can we do. The storm that's coming into from the south, and let's go ahead and bring that in and load up the scan. So there it is. It's starting to already affect 1604 and approaching 410 near Lackland. Again, this area right in here is the area that we're talking about, the severe. And at the moment, it looks like more of a potential hailer issue than a wind issue. It sounds like, Martin, you're still on. Do you want to say something?
Oh no, I'm looking at the weather models for later on tonight, and they continue to show the storms moving in later on tonight around 3 o'clock time frame.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. We just want to let you know the models do verify whatever we're seeing now and what we've seen this evening could be a repeat later on tonight. So don't let your guard down once this is over. And in terms of this particular cell here, that we may not get additional cells later on tonight as well. As a matter of fact, just a reminder, I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go to the SVC here, and I'm going to show that we are currently, I'll take away that guy and go here. We are still under the enhanced risk for severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman. So even though some of these storms are pushing out, and some of these are not severe, this particular severe cell still remains. We have the additional cells overnight, and we still remain in the enhanced. So again, this is general thunderstorm, this is marginal, this is slight, and this is enhanced. So we normally don't want to focus on the risks, but in general, the reason we're focusing on it is the entire county of Bear is under the enhanced warning, the enhanced risk. So just bear that in mind that even though these storms are starting to look like they're weakening or not, potentially showing a lot of activity like they were earlier, the fact that the models are still hinting at the potential activity coming in later on this overnight hours doesn't mean we let our guard down. So I'm going to take that down. I'm going to go back here and we're going to go back into the storm that we're looking at now. So you're starting to see some pretty heavy, you're starting to see some moderate rain by Lackland. If you're still watching in Lackland, let us know if you're starting to see any kind of potential hail. Again, we did see some hail falling down here in this area. Looks like by Little, we're starting to see what looks like some hail there. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the estimated hail size. So it doesn't look as bad as it did earlier. Looks like maybe 1.5 inches. Earlier we were looking at more to 2 to 3. So hopefully that's the case, that the the core is, and the storm in general is starting to weaken a little bit, that we don't have that issue with the hail. That's just us going back to reflectivity. So don't freak real quick. I'll bring it back up. Um, so there it is again. So this area down in here, looking at maybe 1 to 2 inch hail. And as a matter of fact, the severe warning has now been downgraded for what was almost 2 inch hail down to 1 inch. So it does look like the general storm itself is starting to weaken. However, the potential for that tornado is still there, and we're going to continue to watch this. Let's go ahead and put it in motion and see how the storm continues to push off to the east northeast at approximately. And let me get you a general uh, thumb here of, let's see here, about 40 miles an hour is what the software is estimating. So we're getting a report out of southeast side of New Braunfels. It's calm right now. Thank you very much for that report. Let's kind of just quickly look at what's going on over here. So you would be correct. The tornado warning in general has moved out of the overall New Braunfels area and is now moving towards the San Marcos, Wimberley, Kyle, and Buda area. If it should continue to push off to the east northeast, we're going to start directing you to our colleagues at Travis County Severe Weather. We'll keep an eye on that. Should that storm continue to travel towards Austin and Travis County, so we can give our friends and colleagues over there on that side their definite hello, and you'll definitely get a great coverage from them as well if should this storm continue to push off in that direction. So we'll keep an eye on that. But over here, this storm continues to push to the east northeast, and I am seeing a little bit of weakening as we go toward the last couple of frames. But again, these storms have been pulsing. Let's kind of look at. Sorry if I get a little confusing here for you guys. Don't mean to do that, but let's see how we're doing on CAPE. So this is called the MU CAPE. This stands for Most Unstable Convective Available Potential Energy, basically fuel for the storms. And we're still seeing that as these storms have moved through, they've kind of eaten up some of the CAPE. You see some of these numbers are in the 7, 800, 900, 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's due to the fact that some of the storms have started to chew up or starting to eat up some of the CAPE that has been available. Now, as you go down towards central areas of San Antonio, you're starting to see that the numbers do increase. And if you go down to where the severe thunderstorm warning is, you can see there's plenty, 29 through 3,300 joules per kilogram of CAPE. That's essentially, gas for a match and a lit flame and for storms, if we're talking about that. So we have definitely some fuel remaining in terms of CAPE for these storms to feed off from. You can tell, just to kind of give you an idea, the areas that are kind of low, these blue, green areas, if I take off this, you can see that there are definitely no storms in that area. There's no fuel, there's no storms. So that's probably why you're seeing some pockets of no storms, and then you have pockets of storms over here. We're going to definitely watch, seeing that these guys are going to affect us, although that may be moving more to the northeast. I'm going to bring up the severe watches that are out. We continue to remain on a tornado watch according to this, and this tornado watch remains in effect until 11. So we got about, should it continue to hold, we got another 50 minutes for this tornado watch to continue. And so that watch is still in effect. So we continue to go down towards the storm here. It's starting to get some moderate rains by Lackland Air Force Base. Somerset, you're starting to see some moderate rain activity, maybe some heavy rain activity as well as you ride the 1604 loop towards 90, between 35 and 90 as well. You're going to probably start seeing some heavy rain as well. We're going to continue to watch this storm. I'm going to go ahead and put it into motion. And we're just going to see. One of the cool things about this storm is it's kind of moving pretty quickly. That's bad for the rain. But if there is any kind of severe characteristics with this cell, it's not going to last too long as the storm cell continues to push east, northeast. Now, even though the severe storm warning is right here, this area up here is going to be affected as well, but it's just not under any kind of severe issue. So Leon Valley, maybe just south of Elotes, should this storm continue on its trajectory, eventually Hollywood Park, Almost Park, areas that are not currently under the severe thunderstorm warning, you may still get the effects of this cell, which may be potentially some gusty winds, heavy rain, definitely some potential lightning, and some small hail, maybe up to ½ inch is possible. But you're just going to be on the sub-severe side. We're more concerned, obviously, with this area down here since it is on the severe side. I don't want to bring it up. Let's see if my lightning module is working. Yeah. Oh, it looks like it is working. So let's bring up the lightning module. And we can see that this storm has quite a bit of lightning in it. So if you're outside or anywhere near a window, stay away from windows and stay away from being outside. There's obviously quite a bit of lightning with this storm as it continues to push. Let me see if I can get a display. Uh, we normally want to bring up lightning, as lightning tends to be a good indicator of a storm, whether it's weakening or strengthening. And if I start to see the number of strikes increase, that means it's telling me that the storm is starting to potentially increase in intensity. As we see these strikes starting to diminish over time, obviously, that's leading me to believe that the storm in the cell itself in general is starting to weaken. So just something for you guys that may have a radar app and you're watching a particular cell. Uh, if you want to kind of get a general idea of a storm is starting to weaken or starting to strengthen, start looking at the lightning, and if you can, get a lightning strike count, and that'll kind of give you a general idea of the overall health of that particular cell that you may be monitoring. So as you can see, we still got some pretty decent strikes. As this cell continues to push to the east northeast. I'm going to turn it off a little bit because it looks kind of a little bit distracting. But at least know that there's lightning out there. It's pretty good light show, I'm sure. But again, if thunder roars, stay indoors. No need to be outside taking pictures. You don't need to become a statistic for a lightning injury or even worse than that. Again, we're seeing the severe thunderstorm warning continue for this particular area as the storm now continues to push to the east northeast around 30 to 40 miles an hour. It looks like generally it's starting to weaken a little bit just by the fact that we started at 150, 175, now 1 inch hail possible. The winds have also come down a notch from 70 to 60. The fact that the lightning was kind of showing some deliberate decrease in numbers of strikes is also letting us know that the storm was starting to weaken. So hopefully we're just going to get some good soaking rain and no hail just to be on the safe side. And let's go ahead and bring up again the mean estimated hail size, and just takes a little while for that to load and get that up there. Hopefully comes up really quick. Sometimes you have to do it twice. Come on, guys. Load up the hail stuff for our friends here in Bexar County. And I know it's starting to load it. Okay, so we are getting, okay. So it looks like this storm has really weakened quite a bit because it's now bringing up only up to potentially up to a ½ inch in hail. So it looks like that storm has definitely weakened quite a bit from one earlier. So this looks to be more of a rainmaker. I'm looking at just the vertical integrated liquid density. So it does look like it's still kind of potentially some hail, some up to ½ inch hailstones possible. But this looks like quickly starting to be a dying storm. Sorry for the colors. As I switch modes, it changes different colors and stuff. So apologies for that confusion that you may be seeing. But as you can see, this looks like the storm is starting to elongate a little bit and also starting to die and weaken a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised though if we may see some wind. Let me just see up here. If we're seeing potentially some winds, and maybe some pockets of some high wind in this high greens here, more brighter greens, could bring some additional potential, some wind, gusty winds. Doesn't look like anything alarming at this point. But let's go back to reflectivity as we continue to watch this storm potentially continue to move to the east northeast, starting to weaken a little bit. I'm going to bring up there we go, so we can bring up San Antonio a little bit better. So to the west of Leon Valley, just to the west of the Alamo Heights. And let me look at something here. Yeah, 10:30. And let me look at something before that. Let me look at something. Okay, just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something in that process. So continue to have the storm up till 10:30. So if you're south of Leon Valley, you're probably going to get some moderate to heavy rain. Castle Hills as well. Alamo Heights Terrell Hills, Kirby. Looks like you may also be in the path of some moderate to heavy rain. Doesn't look like the severe threat is as bad as it was when it first started. Somerset, you were getting some moderate to heavy rain. It looks like you're still going to get some moderate rain as the storm continues to push, but as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit all elongated, probably being caught in the upper flow, and it's starting to tear that storm apart a little bit. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and move out a little bit, and let's see just really quickly as we continue to monitor the storm as it weakens. We're still watching this particular storm that's tornado warned continue to move up, essentially I-35 towards looks like Kyle and Buda. Looks like right next to San Marcos at the moment, and then moving up to Kyle and Buda. And someone correct me, is it Buda or Buddha? I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Buda, but just want to make sure I'm not mispronouncing some city or town's name. Looks like that tornado warning has expired or has been canceled. So it looks like now just there's a severe thunderstorm warning for the San Marcos area, not including Kyle or Buddha or Buda and Wimberley. But it looks like right now that particular tornado warning has expired, which is good news for that general area as we continue to monitor the weakening storm to the south and southwest. This severe thunderstorm warning continues, although we're starting to see the signs of weakening, and looks more to be more of a heavy rain, potentially some small hail and gusty wind event with this storm. However, this is sneaky storm city, and we saw that happen earlier when everything looked to be okay, and then just right here north of 410 and 281, right by just northeast of the airport, we noticed some strong gusty winds, and all of a sudden that became a rotation and a tornado warning. So just because these storms are weakening, just because they look like they're falling apart, doesn't mean we just take our eyes off them. We need to just continue to monitor and ensure that we are not going to be cut off guard. I'm just bringing up some velocity here. I'm not seeing anything that's really striking me like I need to be concerned. Although this guy right here by Natalia, I'm just going to keep an eye on this particular. Okay, just updated the scan. So, okay, just never know. Never know. Just never know. But anyway, once this particular cell and this particular warning moves through the Bexar County area at this point, we're not seeing anything downwind that could potentially affect us. However, Martin did mention the models indicating another wave of storms coming in, and it looks like this may potentially be that wave that's forming off to the west in the mountains of Mexico.
If you notice, if they went ahead and canceled the severe for Southern Bay.
Yep. So it looks like this storm here has now gone non-severe. Looks like we've just gone ahead and it started to weaken. So what we're going to do is we appreciate everything that you guys have done, your support, your reports. We're going to go ahead and shift to our coverage on Twitter just to give me a little break, and that we've been on air for almost 3 hours and 45 minutes. We hope we found our coverage enjoyable, and it's not just enjoyable, but resourceful, informationable, and hopefully life-saving. And we appreciate your support. We'll continue to monitor this storm on Twitter, and if we have to, we'll come back live if it becomes tornado warned or anything like that. We appreciate your reports to us in comments. We appreciate your reports to EWX Spotter. You've been watching Bexar County Severe Weather Live, and on behalf of Martin and myself, Jag, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave us comments on Twitter and let us know if you liked our coverage or if you think we need to do something different or whatever. This was just on the fly, but we appreciate your tuning in. And again, if this pops up or it gets worse, we'll pop up back live. And if later on tonight we do get that severe weather, we may go live as well. But just be aware of the weather tonight as the night wears on. Thanks again. Bexar County Severe Weather signing off.